Please don't hear any of this, Brad.
All right, we ready? You hitting it? Tell me when we're rolling. No, we've been rolling. God damn.
We're Googling over here.
All right.
To nerd sports now, people.
Exactly.
Look out. Do you fear death?
Oh, one of the greatest lines of all time.
I've got a job to it. I've got a job to it.
Kind of like whistles at her, so Dad looks over and the guy's going. And Dad's like, I got the fuck out of there. I was like, oh man, you didn't partake? I thought that was part of the mountain biking community, that y'all just went out there and had sex together in your tight shorts. But literally making me 30 sides of red sauce. He just takes it back up.
So that's what I was doing wrong the first time.
that's what you were doing wrong.
Big Pharma's turning the frogs gay, and it's coming after your kids.
And they're going to make them incredibly happy.
Infowars.com.
Listened to so much. Are you...
Thank goodness.
The leg's gone.
I saw a t-shirt once that said, I have titties, therefore I make the rules. We need to do that on our shirt.
You want to talk about that? How females have superpowers?
I had no idea you heard that. Yes, we can talk about that.
We can talk about that.
We can talk about female superpowers.
The power to be able to just suck a dick and get whatever you want.
I mean, you can suck a dick and get whatever you want, too.
That's true. That is true. That's fair.
I want to switch places already.
I don't know if there's as much of a market.
Yeah, there's a market.
Oh, yeah, there is. I'm
Especially
sure.
with the wig.
Yeah.
These ladies show up wearing wigs, so I couldn't be outdone. So I had to get.
Where is the camera? Is it there? I thought
It's
it was
right
there.
there.
It's right there. Awesome.
It's over there on the music stand.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous of yours, actually.
Hers is
I like
pretty
that
fucking
one. I know.
fabulous.
It's named Virginia. I'm calling everything Virginia
Everything
today.
is
It'll be the
Virginia.
Wigcast.
Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It has to be. We wore these to a rage room.
I had a
yesterday.
different wig, but
Oh,
yeah. Mine was,
sure.
it was long and beautiful and
So,
luxurious.
talk to me about the Rage Room. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it called? Smash Lab.
NWA Smash Labs.
And where's that?
It's over on Pluto Drive, over across
Off of
from Nomad's
Library.
Trailside.
Okay.
You know where Fossil Cove Brewing is?
No.
Oh.
But I know that
It's
area.
over by some railroad tracks.
You can either get to it off of Poplar or off of Sycamore.
Yeah. All right.
And you pay a nominal fee, and you go in, and with bats, you get to smash and break glass and just wreak complete havoc
Get all that testosterone out.
Mm-hmm.
for a full 25 minutes.
25 minutes, and it was $78 and some change for the two of us.
It wasn't horrible.
So what
It
kind of
was-
shit are you breaking? I just saw a short clip.
Faces, bottles,
Okay.
drinking
Dishes.
glasses,
Ooh,
dishes.
he gave us a printer to
He
break.
said- he
we got
said-
to smash a printer.
He had all of our stuff in there already, and so then when we got there, he's like, "You guys look like you might need to get a lot out, so I'm going to give you this extra printer," and took it in there and sat it on one of the barrels, and I was like,
And we just go
"Yeah,
office
we're
space
gonna
on
office
that.
space
I was
this
thinking office
motherfucker."
space.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to do that.
I wish he would have played "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster." That would have been perfect.
We can request. We're going back.
Yeah,
We're
definitely.
going back.
Once
we
a
want
month,
to make
at
this
least.
like a monthly thing for like Urban Dictionary,
Yeah.
and have like a group of women. I think you can max 7 or is it 7 or 8?
I forgot to
women?
check, but I think it's
It's like
7.
you can max 7 or 8 people in a room, and you just break shit for half hour.
and
And
it's fucking great.
the adrenaline was
Oh.
insane. I came home, I crashed on the couch watching Back to the Future 2 with my son.
How good a fucking movie is that,
it's
by the way?
amazing.
It holds up.
Yeah, and I just felt good. Woke up sore as fuck.
Right,
So
right
you-
here.
you
Was it
using
right
some
here?
muscles?
My shoulders.
You don't use
Yeah.
My shoulders
Yes!
up here. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be quite the workout, and I'm still pulling glass. I wore my dyke boots, still pulling glass out of my boots and wires and all kinds of stuff, but it was worth
It was worth it. It was
So
so worth it. There were these tools that were like, I don't know, they're a tool, but I don't know what they're actually called. But they're
Was that the big ball?
the bar with the big ball at the end of
Okay,
it. It's just like a bar, like this long or so, with a baseball size, maybe a little bit smaller than.
If it was a
size,
bar with
metal.
2 big balls on it, we wouldn't be questioning it. But
Exactly.
This was just a bar with
It was
one
with one
big
single ball, and I didn't know what to do with a bar and one single ball, except smash a
So we just smashed
printer.
it. I was hitting stuff so hard. I was smelling smoke.
Yep.
Because we were metal on metal so much.
They had bats.
Sparking.
There were crowbars, sledgehammers.
So this was therapeutic. This
Oh,
was
God,
like
yes.
getting out all the rage.
Yes. Because you can be as loud as you want in there. Like,
Yeah.
Every emotion
Yeah.
that I have had over the past 6 months came out in that room yesterday.
Really?
It
Yep.
was insane. Insane.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. I mean, I know if I'm like super pissed, I need to just punch a wall or something.
I feel so good today.
Right.
So good.
And you didn't destroy anything that wasn't already
Meant to be
going to be
destroyed.
destroyed.
Right,
You know, like
right.
somebody was telling me that they talked to somebody that works at a Smash Lab place, and that they just go to like Goodwill and stuff and just buy glass from them, buy vases and stuff like that. And I'm just like, maybe we should just get a group together to donate. Like, maybe it would
And then just be able to smash it.
whenever we want. Yeah. I think we should do that.
The smash bash.
Yes.
Hashtag smash bash. I'm
Hashtags.
gonna be doing that. But it was really weird walking out of my front door with wigs and costumes and telling my husband I'm going to smash, you know. But
So what was the deal with the wigs? Just for fun?
we
Yeah.
just,
Just something fun to do. All right.
something fun to do.
A couple of fun ladies breaking shit.
Been a pretty
Wearing
rough
wigs.
couple months for the both of us. You
Yeah.
know, opening a new restaurant is not for the faint of heart. It's just not.
That sounds like a
Shawna
fucking nightmare.
is the manager of Ridge Runner Cafe in Farmington, Arkansas, over on Kelly. Is it 309 Kelly? 301.
$2.95.
I was close. I went.
It's
just
right.
saying,
It's right across
295
from-
Kelly.
309? No, 209.
Right next door to
None of
Domino's.
those digits are in the number, but
Somewhere over there between the Walmart and the Domino's.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah.
by Domino's Pizza, where the old something. used
good
to be.
potato
Fish and
salad.
chips. Yeah.
The potato salad.
How's the
Oh,
potato salad on the legs? How does that work?
I eat it, and it turns into cellulite.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's what my potato salad legs.
I know, that's a fun callback.
That's what my potato salad legs are.
Oh
I
my
eat
gosh.
it, and I get chubby legs, and they move things when I get too close.
Same.
So they're my potato salad legs.
It's worth it though, I'm sure.
It's Green Goddess potato
It's
salad.
so good.
It's really.
Like-
Did I ever bring you any?
No.
A lot of your guests bring food. I wonder why this one did not.
I'm fired. I'm sorry. I think I need to leave now.
No,
Like,
Stillwell. Somebody was saying last night. That was Larry. Larry Darling and Jason Stillwell were on last night. And Larry's like, I don't know how to keep up with this guy. He's always bringing gifts. So he brought red sauce, and then he brought socks. Last night he brought the fucking.
Look at
Koozies.
these!
He said last night if you hit him up, he'll send you one. So.
And if you don't like it, here's your other
This
side.
would
These
be
are
the side that I
best.
have out all the time.
These are the best.
But not because of the podcast.
Okay.
Because I'm always like,
Yeah, no, I get
fuck
it.
this, fuck
I get
everything.
it.
I've
Yeah.
never
It was,
had
it's
any
great.
of your guests on my show, so
That might need to
Stillwell's
happen.
up there because
Yeah,
he
I'll have
brings-
Stillwell on.
I will. That will be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good. You had Scott on with me. That was technically.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
That was okay. Yeah. Did I tell you that he texted me from Durham Fest too, up on stage?
Mm-mm.
I'm sitting out there enjoying you guys. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, I look down and I have a Facebook inbox, and I'm like, and it was Scott Stokes. He's like, "Good to see you drinking beer."
Ah,
God.
yeah,
So-
he's coming by next week or the week after.
I
yeah.
heard you scored a interview for this Saturday.
Yeah, I did.
I'm
How
excited
did you
for
do
that.
that?
She's been on the edge. Like, it was just about finding the right time, and I had a small window. It's like, hey,
That's exciting.
You do it?
I can't believe you got her before I did.
hey, I'm working it. That's been one of the most interesting things about doing this podcast is that the resistance to it from a lot of people. Some people are just, there's like three levels. There's people like Stillwell who's down to do anything, let's do this thing, and then there's people who are like, yeah, I'll do it, but I don't know how much I'm going to be able to contribute, right? And then they get in and you have a conversation, it's a great time. And then there's the people who just don't want to do it for whatever reason.
I was describing what we did with Ray to Shawna on the way over here, and I called it your non-podcast.
unpodcast.
Your
Mhm.
unpodcast. where
But
she
it was
just
great.
Wanted to come over and sit on the couch and see what it was about. And it's the same thing a lot of times, whether the camera's on or the camera's off. So.
Yeah, for sure. But it was a good conversation.
Is this the real flag?
That's one of your faults. Finding these things all over the fucking place now.
Sorry.
I think you just dropped
No,
it.
you're not. No, you're not sorry.
No, I'm not.
I actually
Right.
glued the ones you brought over for the debate cast. I glued into the eyes of the.
Oh my god!
Give it a little bit of depth.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, she's obsessed with this Mike Pence fly.
I mean, I get
was the
it.
star of the show.
It was hilarious because
It
it
was
was
the
just
star.
there the whole time.
And it didn't move.
No.
That
No.
thing hung on like a virgin that you just de-virgined. I mean, that thing hung on to the head, just would not let go.
Did you really really?
Yeah, I'm trying to work that one out.
The fly?
No, the virgin.
The virgin that you
She's
just
got the
de-virgined.
virgin.
Yeah. It just
She hangs on
never
tight.
goes away.
Yeah.
It hangs on tight.
Yeah.
No, I'm with it now. It took me a second to work that one through.
What?
No, I got it. I was just
No,
like,
I-
really?
Yeah, it was an interesting.
Like,
That's
I
a
like the
Nicole
analogy.
original.
I like it.
It's
I
a
like it.
Nickism.
It needs to go in the dictionary.
Hashtag. It goes in the dictionary, yes.
Mhm.
That's so funny how that came up. That was over a decade ago that word was introduced.
What?
Dictionary.
Oh, okay.
She has her own language.
Because I started making up words and
Mm-hmm.
mushing words together and making them one word. So I would put it in a dictionary.
Have you thought about publishing your own, self-publishing an actual dictionary?
On a podcast.
Yeah.
No, I've not thought about. I should.
You need to
Think
write that
about it.
down.
I will get on that.
That middle finger is kind of aggressive. I look over there and I'm.
It is. I
It's
like
the
it.
thumb. It's the thumb that makes it aggressive. And it's the correct way to do it.
It is the
It's not-
absolute correct way
It's
to
not
do it.
this.
Yeah,
You
it's-
know, that
Yeah.
irritates me when
Right.
people do that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Are we talking about the correct way to put
Or
people off?
or that.
Oh, that one irritates me too.
It's not
That's
right.
a really good way. Like that looks real.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Look, Shawna is gorgeous.
I am.
if she
Thank
has a-
you.
Now you see why I first. I am. She's gorgeous with or without a wig.
It took me a long time to
You know,
get to that way, to get to accept compliments and go, yeah, well, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah, I love
I'm
it.
hot. I like it. Thanks.
Yeah.
It took me a long
You
time
know,
to get
my
there.
dad
so.
used to have to pay her to play with me.
So y'all known each other a long time.
Yeah.
A minute or
Since
two.
High school.
A minute or two.
Same class.
No.
No, she's younger than me. I graduated in '94.
I graduated
Okay.
in '95. Springdale. This was
Springdale
whenever I
High,
moved to
Red
Springdale.
Dogs.
Okay.
I moved from Farmington. My parents got divorced in '92, and
We
I
beering
call
up,
it,
Shawna?
I call
Yes,
it
sir.
92 and a half. And then so I spent the last like 2.5 years at
You can set it on the table if you want.
from Farmington. Going from a small school to a big school.
Yeah, what's that like?
I bet it sucked.
I
Intimidate?
had-
Did you go too?
I was used to it. I grew up in Springdale, so I grew up in the
Oh,
Springdale school
okay.
system.
No,
Yeah.
but
So you were
like,
there the whole time.
Yeah.
I had like 108 in science in Farmington because we got to take open book tests, and I go over to Springdale, and it didn't take too long before I realized that it was fucking like college in that thing. And
It was. Back then, we did not have all of the best teachers.
no.
Yeah.
I made one retire.
Who?
Miss Nicole. Do you know who I'm talking
What
about?
did you do? That poor woman.
I nicked her. She retired because of me.
Wow.
Do you
That's
think
horrible.
there's an advantage to going to a smaller school
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
There's an advantage
where
to going
you're
to a
a
smaller
little closer,
school
you know everybody?
with a known name.
Yeah.
Well, certainly. But even if you don't have a known name, I feel I've never been to a large school, so I don't know. I see a lot of negatives. So you're just lost in the crowd. It seems
Basically,
like there's so
yeah.
many people
I
that.
think it was 400
My-
in our graduating
Oh my
class
God,
or
no,
something.
more than that. Springdale,
back
I don't
then?
know. Springdale was like 800
Was
when I
it?
graduated.
Okay.
Right around 800 kids.
In the 90s?
Yeah.
Damn.
We only had one high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know, it was before Harbor was there, and
Yeah.
so like that.
And that wasn't until when, 2000? Somewhere there?
99 maybe, 98, 99, something like that. I think Harbor was built. I don't know about the high school. The Harbor Meadows part was built back in 97ish. because that's when I moved to Texas and then moved back. And so, like, when I moved, it wasn't there. When I moved back 3.5 months later, it was there. And I was like, what the fuck?
You moved to Texas for 3.5 months?
Yeah. I was young.
Yeah.
And drugs were fun.
Drugs are still fun.
I was about to say, they were.
Okay.
Drugs are fun.
I was young and drugs were fun, and I had a cash flow. I had no business being in Fort Worth area by myself.
How old were you?
21.
You moved down there
Do you
by
have
yourself?
pictures of
By
this?
myself, yeah.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
girl, no.
That's ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
So why there?
I moved down there to take a job.
Okay.
I was working at the Vitamin World that was in the Ozark Centerpoint Plaza, yes. Right there where, I think it's where Dollar General is now or something. It was a vitamin store. And they were opening Grapevine Mills Mall and putting one in there. And I got offered the management job there. And I was like 21 years old. I had a daughter who was, she was 2. And I thought, what a great opportunity. But I decided that I wanted her to stay here while I got established there. So she stayed here with my parents. And I went there, and that was a mistake because I didn't have anything anchoring me, and I just kind of got out of control. I mean, drugs were...
That had to be hard to be away from your daughter, too.
Yeah, it was, but I knew I was going to be working really crazy long hours, getting the place open and stuff, so I didn't feel like it was fair.
Trying to distract yourself and just keep busy.
Right,
yeah.
and I didn't feel like it was fair to take my 2-year-old away from my parents, who were the only other really people that was around her, you know.
Sure.
To somewhere where I didn't really know anybody,
Yeah.
and I don't trust many people any fucking way, let alone with my damn kids. You know,
Yeah.
so I just
No,
felt
I'm
like
with
it
you,
would be
yeah.
a better idea to go down there, get established, you know. And it was only 3 months, so, and I had went home twice. I'd come back home and visited twice. You know, I still took care of her, still sent money, still, you know, talked to her all the time. It was hard, you know, but I figured in my head when I went down there initially, it was going to be a good move for her.
Right.
And, I figured out I didn't have any self-control down there by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like just being young and unaccountable and just doing whatever.
Yeah, doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. I didn't have anybody holding me to a standard.
Right.
And I was just too young and naive to hold myself to a standard.
Yeah.
And now, completely different story. But, you know, 21 years old.
What was the kicker? What made you finally realize I got to get out of here?
When I spent the last bit of money I had on drugs instead of paying my rent, I went, this is not where I want to be.
Would it be easier to suck a dick for drugs?
It would have been easier to suck a dick for drugs, but
That's how I get mine. You know,
I mean, right?
just
Like, what kind
I
of
have
drugs?
some aspirin in my purse.
You're gonna suck Nick's lady dick.
no, thank you. Speaking of the lady dicks, you know, living out in the country, it's easy for dudes. You just piss anywhere, right?
Right.
But ladies need a facility. But they make these
Oh
funnels,
my
the
God,
lady
no!
funnels.
They said no.
Okay.
There would be no. They
You know-
you didn't
Is
know
it a
this?
shiwi?
Yes,
The
it's
shiwi?
shiwi.
Shiwi,
Yes.
yeah.
I thought you said, "Are you shitting me?" And I was like,
No.
"You didn't know about
No,
that?"
I know the name
No,
of this
thank you.
They're for real.
I can just squat. It's fine.
Why are
It's
what are you
fine.
talking
Like,
about?
Well, it's a handy tool.
Why? Everywhere I go, there's a bathroom.
so I'm gonna no. Listen, I have some misgivings about this thing. So I'm gonna
The shiwi?
use it. Yes. So I'm gonna use it, and it's gonna get urine all over the inside of it, all
Oh
over
yeah,
it.
and then you put it in your purse.
And then where
What
the
do
fuck
you
am
do
I
with
gonna put it?
You got to get a special case for it, like a carrying case.
So I'm just gonna carry around piss in my fucking
Shiwi,
bag.
shishi?
Hey,
Listen, I can squat
asking
in
ladies
the
about-
woods.
okay.
You are not asking ladies.
Okay, well,
right now, bro.
Let's correct that for the record. These are not ladies.
You are not asking
I don't
ladies.
know what they are, but they're certainly not ladies.
I've not been accused of that very often in my life.
Of being a lady.
Me either. Obviously, it
Shocker.
caught me off guard.
I was
This is my
raised by a
shocked
man
face.
that wanted boys, and he got 2 girls, and well, here we are.
I was raised. I had 2 older brothers, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, here we are.
There wasn't much in my house.
So what? Obviously, y'all are on pretty similar frequencies. You've known each other for a long
Yeah.
time.
We vibrate similarly.
Similarly, parallelly.
Parallelly.
Put that in the dictionary. You're like
Yeah.
George Bush over here.
Parallelly. Boy, I could make someone
Senior-
very happy saying
Senior
parallelly.
W.
What?
Yeah, you could do that again.
Parallelly.
What is
That's showing
Why
her.
did she hide her face from from me. So,
Now I'm
because you
getting
think that I'm going to be like,
I know you
Yeah.
would.
well, listen, I'm still waiting on Amanda.
Amanda.
I don't know this. What, is this something you can tell on the pod, or is this?
Are we talking pod?
I don't want to have to do what Nicole did and edit
Okay,
out.
I'm just gonna say it. She probably won't ever see this podcast, so maybe she will. I don't
She
know.
will definitely see this show.
Amanda is a lady that we went to school with, and she is absolutely beautiful, and I've had a crush on her since high school.
I've had a
Before
crush
I even knew I was bisexual, before I even realized that, before it was even a thought in my mind, I just always thought, man, she's just so beautiful. And yeah.
We love you. I have a nickname for her. You don't have a nickname for her.
Oh, you don't? You have a nickname for her?
Yeah.
What is that?
A squared.
I have a nickname for her. Lap warmer. I'm waiting on you.
We talked about how Shawna had a cold lap and how Amanda needed to come sit on it to warm it up.
See?
I'm so jealous.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
See, I was.
Brad's gonna be reaching out. Hey,
I'm outnumbered here.
Who's A squared?
It all started with we got to get Amanda on the podcast, and we only have 3 chairs in the studio, and I said, it's fine, she can sit on my lap.
Okay.
And it would be fine. This is how the show goes.
Yeah, it's fine. I've seen it. You just got to write it out.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so anyway, you feel outnumbered.
Yeah, I'm definitely outnumbered.
Then why?
This is a new experience. Every time, okay.
You gotta tell him about the Photoshop.
Okay. So,
Deep breaths. Yeah, now.
so when we did the 100th show photo shoot, we photoshopped an old photo of her and her ex and put me in it.
We took her ex's face out, put a shot in it.
It was great. It was so much better than the original. She even said it was better than the original.
I worry about you sometimes.
Why?
She's just always teetering on the edge of a laughter
No, I
apocalypse.
just remembered about doing that. I was dying laughing so hard.
Speaking of that, I love the way you opened your latest episode.
Oh, lots of
It was
people
with
love
that.
the way I open things.
It was.
My big mouth. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Are you double fisting, or are you done with that already?
I'm almost done.
God, I feel like a terrible influence.
You are a terrible influence. Now people want to drink on my show, Brad.
But look at what a great koozie you have to drink out of.
Fantastic.
And if you don't like it, I love the koozie.
So the bisexual thing.
Mhm.
Let's get into this.
Okay.
Is that something that you were always, like, even as a child?
I was always attracted to women as well. I didn't know what to do with that because I
Yeah.
was raised that
Sure.
it's men and women. I was
Yeah.
raised in a very religious family. My grandmother, my mama's mama, was the pianist. Her one brother was the pastor. The other brother played the guitar, and their sister played the organ. I was raised in church, and so in a very it was a non-denominational church, so it wasn't
Okay.
really Pentecostal or anything, but it leaned more toward like a Southern Pentecostal type environment, right? It was wrong for me to do that, for me to have those thoughts. I kind of buried them, and for a long time I did. And then when I did act out on it a few times, I felt ashamed because of how I was raised. And I finally just got to the point where I was like, this is part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe in God, God made me the way I am.
Yeah.
So how could the way that I feel about another human being be a mistake?
Right.
And so I just kind of went, okay, this is who I am. And I didn't come out like publicly. People that knew me, people that were close to me knew for years. I didn't come out publicly until last June. Like I posted on Facebook and I did a video on TikTok and stuff. And my aunt, she says, your mom and I always knew. And I'm like, yeah, but not with the person you thought it was. Because they always thought my best friend in high school was, and then after high school, because we lived together, she was a stripper. I mean,
that's an obvious assumption.
I get it.
You can't.
I get
She
it.
could totally land a stripper. She's so cute.
Oh, wait. I have.
Again.
Yeah.
And we've all done it. They're very flexible.
Not necessarily my most proud moment, but it is what it is.
But how about that? What's the word? Limber. They're very limber people.
Mm-hmm.
Very
that they are
interesting
Get
combination
some
of
interesting
human
positions.
pretzel kind of things going on.
Thanks. Flashbacks.
Having some
A little bit of
reflections.
flashbacks there, yeah. Yeah.
Did you feel better after coming out? Did you feel like there was a
I
weight
did.
off?
I felt a lot lighter.
Did you get any negative reaction from it?
I haven't. But I mean,
'Cause I feel like people are pretty tolerant.
I
these days.
think they are a
Honestly.
lot toward that. I think the people that are intolerant are just loud about it. They're just loud about
Well,
it.
it's just like I talk a lot on this. Well, we've talked about it too. One side thinks the other side's in a cult, right? And that side thinks the other side's in a cult. But those opinions are based on a real fringe minority of those sides.
Right.
Right? And it's like you said, it's the loudest people. I saw somebody post a Bible verse the other day about, if you lay with a man the way you lay with the woman, the punishment's death.
But that's
It's
not
like-
how it was actually
Well,
written.
but why would you
yeah.
post that unless you're just trying to, you know what I mean?
Inciting.
It's like, believe what you want to believe, but why are we trying to poke each other? I don't understand that.
Well, there has been a time in the most recent 8 years or so where it has become more common for people to show ignorance like that, if that makes any sense.
It's very
But it's also been a lot more tolerance over the years too. I mean,
I give you that.
because
I
also
do.
like in the '90s, I felt like racism was dead, but there was still very much a stigma against homosexuality.
Absolutely.
Right.
I don't
But
think
now I feel like it's almost flipped.
racism wasn't really ever dead, though. But it was not as
not
in your
completely.
face. It was not as in your face as it has been in recent years.
Still underlying, very
Yeah.
underlying current.
Right.
Well, sure, and I think
Right.
that's a lot of that's in urban areas too.
I will agree with you on
have
that.
A lot of,
I'll agree with you on that. I think for us, because we live in such a tolerant, inclusive bubble here in Northwest Arkansas.
We do.
I
But
think
even
that
the
we have,
rednecks. I mean, even
Yeah.
like I went to Farmington, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, but it's Northwest Arkansas. Go down to South Arkansas.
Yeah.
Go down to Beebe. Go down to Mountain Home. Go down to Texarkana. It's not the same. It is
Yeah.
not the same. And I know that it's different across every state.
Yeah.
In one area of the state, it's going to be a little bit different than other areas of the state.
It's
But-
all about your experience.
Yeah.
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 And so I guess it's easy for me to say, in my experience, I don't see it,
Right.
and then kind of by that
Okay.
logic deny that it exists.
So
Just
let's get into that.
yeah.
When I date men, most recently I have exclusively dated men of color. Not for any other reason other than that, it's just who I've been attracted to for the last probably 7 years or so. Northwest Arkansas, go on a date with a black man. I am white presenting most of the time. I'm darker right now because I've been out in the sun. And I'm Hispanic, Latina, I get dark. So, but in the wintertime I'm kind of pale, and so I'm white presenting, and I know that. Go out on a
What the fuck
date.
is white presenting?
I look
Why?
white. I look white to the general
Just
public.
heard this word, white representing, white.
Presenting.
Two
So
words.
people that don't know me, I look and sound white, like I'm Caucasian race, and I'm not. I'm Latina.
Okay,
But
fair.
it is what it is. What I was raised that way. I was raised as Caucasian. That's what I've always put on all of my paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
So to other people, it looks like a black man and a white woman out on a date.
Sure. Right.
Never had any issues in Northwest Arkansas. Never had any weird looks or anything like that. Go down to Fort Smith. Lived down there for about a year. I was running the Hooters down there for a year and a half. Go out on dates with black men there. Everybody watched us walk in the door, sit down. Most of the time they were kind of off and on staring at us through dinner. Watch us walk out the door.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
See, that surprises me. I just didn't.
And it's only an hour away.
You'd think as
you're
a
in- we are
species.
in. You would
Now,
think
I will
as a
say-
species we would evolve to the point that we don't give a shit about
I will
that
say
kind of
this
thing.
though about that.
Okay.
If I see a white woman with a black dude, my assumption is it's for the dick.
I mean, and you're not wrong in most cases. And that is not totally true across the race.
No, I
will
get
tell
it.
you
It's a
that.
stereotype.
Right.
It's
It
a
is
stereotype. But I've seen a lot of porn, and it's mostly true.
It is mostly true.
It
You're
is
right.
95%
In my experience, it has
true.
been mostly true. There has been about 2%.
Blushing for fucking female Howard Stern over here covering her face.
Because I don't want to start crying again. She's cracking me up.
There's about 2% in my
She's over here
experience.
whipping out
that,
statistics.
listen, I know. I take this serious.
It's legit.
It is.
It's not all, but most.
Exactly. You know, and so, like, I will say that racism is still alive. It is
No.
100% still alive. Not so much in Northwest Arkansas, and I know that some people of color would probably disagree with me on that because I don't have the same experience they do.
Yeah.
But from my experience, it's so much more progressive in Northwest Arkansas than
Certainly.
it is in other parts of Arkansas.
Well, it's a really cool vibe because you
Yeah.
do have, you got your rednecks on the outside.
You got a melting pot here.
You've got your kind of hippies and your kind of yuppie type people, and you've got a little bit of everything. You know, and it's everybody kind of just coexists.
It's kinda
it's
like-
a cool place to have grown up.
It's kind of like, to me, what America is.
Yes.
Because it's a big mix of every fucking body.
Yeah.
Every culture you can probably think of is in Northwest Arkansas. Now, do I wish that some of those cultural communities were a little bit bigger and had like more of an influence? Absolutely. I wish we had a bigger Cuban community here. Cuban food is amazing. And they know how to dance.
What about their dicks?
I don't know.
Oh,
I've
sorry. I thought we were talking about.
I
this.
have no experience with Cuban dick.
Where do Mexicans fall in?
I don't know. I've never had a Mexican. Oh, wait. I've had a man that was mixed Mexican and Caucasian.
Yeah, but you can't count that.
Average-ish.
But well, what about this line? It's not about the size, it's about the way you use it. Is that true, or is bigger better?
It can be true. It can be true. The real secret to really good sex is foreplay.
Yeah.
Period. The end. You could have the smallest dick in the fucking world, but if you can eat it, right?
I just slammed
I mean-
me up against a wall. I'm good with that.
I mean, foreplay is where it is.
Yeah, that's the adventure, right? That's the...
Well, I mean, you know, as a woman, it takes a minute to get there for us. Takes a minute. You gotta warm it up like an old fucking 67 Mustang that sits in there in the driveway just for looks. You gotta warm that shit up before you take off on the
Definitely for
ride. That's why we're friends.
It's happening again.
It is happening.
Sorry,
You know what?
guys. Sorry.
Do we need to get you the Liberty crown?
No. It's up there.
It is.
No.
It's the
No.
Liberty crown.
Shawna and I talked all the way over here about how this was going to be political. We're going to talk politics.
I said, well, we talked about how it could possibly go that way.
I sure didn't warn her for this one. Sorry.
Did I need to be warned?
Nope. Let's roll.
Let's go.
What are we
Down.
talking
We're
about?
just hanging out. We're just
We're
talking.
hanging out.
Like, I'm curious to learn because I grow, you know, we're talking about experience.
Right.
In my experience, I see these things, and
Right.
you know, you're definitely have a very different life experience than I do. You've
Absolutely.
seen things I haven't seen. I mean, I don't think I'm right about everything. I don't have to be right.
No.
I just have, here's what I believe based on what my experience is, and I'm open to listen to anything. You know, I'm learning with everybody else.
I like that about you.
You know, if I can be 1% better tomorrow than I am today, then I've won that day. You know,
You and I are alike a
that's-
lot in that.
That's
in that
my
way.
one goal now. Is I just want to improve a little. I don't have to be here tomorrow, but if I can just one step at a time,
Right.
expand my consciousness, my mind, whatever it is, then and even worse is stagnation.
Right.
Just staying the same forever.
Exactly.
And not challenging yourself with new ideas and new views. Because I've said this before, like, if I'm wrong, I want to know I'm wrong. I want to have a better argument, right?
Mhm.
So if somebody attacks my argument and my argument's better, then I win that argument, right? Then that strengthens my belief in that argument. But if somebody breaks it, then I want to adopt their argument because it's better.
Right.
Right? So if you can have that attitude, which is being open-minded, which that in my experience, we don't have a lot of
No.
open-mindedness.
We don't.
We have a lot of. I think we have a lot of tolerance, but not open-mindedness.
I agree. I think humans are very, well, I know humans are very resistant to change. And
me included.
Absolutely.
I hate
was
change.
there too.
Yeah.
I got.
I'm having to push myself to change.
Right. I was given a book by a boss of mine, a former boss of mine, and I worked for Black & Decker for the for the Walmart vendor office of Black & Decker. And we were moving from one office building to another, and I was the office manager, so the bulk of moving some of the stuff or organizing the stuff to move fell to me. But I still had my regular job duties I had to perform as well, and so I kind of got frustrated. I was still young. I was 30. I don't remember. I don't think I was, 2003-ish. I was not quite 30. So things kind of got off kilter for me, and I'm just like, this is hard. I don't understand this. I don't know why we got to do this, and I kind of resisted. And he bought me this book and gave it to me. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? It's Franklin Covey, I think, wrote it, and it is fucking amazing. It goes into the psychology of why humans resist change. We get comfortable.
Yeah.
We get comfortable in the way things are, complacent.
Yes.
And when that happens, then nothing grows.
Mm-mm.
And we can't, as a civilization, grow if we don't each grow.
Well, and in my experience during COVID, I got so comfortable in being alone because I'm an introvert, right? So my natural tendency, I was so happy. I was here and alone and didn't have to interact with people. And then the longer it went on, once we started going back to work and started having to go back out into it, any idea of change or doing new things just petrified me.
Right.
I'd gotten so calcified, if you will. In just that complacence, and it was an awful, unhealthy place to be.
Absolutely.
And it was
I think that
hard to
happened
get out.
to the majority of Americans, because even though we are what scientists have described as pack animals, we need that interaction. A lot of us have become extroverted introverts, so we enjoy our time out with our people that we like.
Sure, but then
then you have to recharge.
Right. We talked about this literally. I don't think it's come out yet, but Taylor Mary from 16 General was over here the other night, and we were talking about that, where introverts have like a battery. Mm-hmm. And so as you're extroverting, or whatever you want to call it, that battery drains down, and then you have to go recharge it. I mean,
it's like a phone. Like when you're using your phone, even if it's on the charger, when you're using your phone, you're still depleting that battery.
Right. So are you an introvert?
I am an extroverted introvert. I enjoy being out and in public and doing things in public, but I can only do it for so long. Okay. And I usually can't.
But you do enjoy the extroversion
it while I'm out there.
Okay.
But then when I'm home, I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad to be home.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable and with all of my things and with my menopause dog, and I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here, sitting here, drinking a beer, smoking a blunt, watching Breaking Bad or whatever the hell I'm watching that week. And
you watching House of the Dragon?
No. I never got into that.
Not into it?
I'm going to try to get into it. I know I would like it. I know I would. But by the time I got to a point where I was able to actually sit down and watch shows, it was so far into, not House of the Dragon, but
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones was so far into the storyline. I tried to watch it a couple times with a dude that I was dating at the time, and I was just like, I'm bored. I don't even know what's going on here. I don't know who this person is or that person is. He tried to explain it to me, and I was just like, nah, man.
So you turned it off and got to the foreplay.
Of course we did.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta adapt. Moving on. Nicole hadn't watched it either, despite having a season 2 picture of her on the game of microphones.
Sorry, I just like the picture.
That broke my heart.
It should remain broken because
not as bad as season 8 did. So that was a fucking travesty.
I'm a Breaking Bad girl. Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul.
Had you ever heard the phrase Breaking Bad before that show?
Yes.
You had?
Yes.
Okay. I'd never heard it.
I grew up in the world of drugs and crime. But when I was younger, I really was really bad.
So you said you grew up in a pretty religious household.
Yeah.
Was that what caused you to kind of experiment with drugs and do some wild shit? It's kind of a fuck you?
I don't really think so. I have some theories. I have very little memories of about age 7 to about age 10.
Okay.
So for a 3-year span, I have very few memories.
Really? 'Cause
And I have
that's
a lot of
usually
memories
a lot of
before.
kids.
Right. I have a
really
lot of
start
memories
developing.
before 7
Yeah.
and a lot of memories after 10, but that 7 to 10, there's a lot of things missing.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Was there
There-
trauma or?
I don't know. I don't know if something happened and I've just covered it so much with my brain that I don't remember anything about it. And, you know, everybody around me covered it because, I mean, it was back in the 80s.
Sure.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
You know, uncle touched you wrong. Well, just don't wear shorts around that uncle anymore. You know, that's how it was. And I'm not saying it was great, but that's how that time period was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I wonder, because of those gaps in memory, I wonder if something happened to me and like maybe it was just my subconscious way
Sure.
of trying to heal those things.
I've heard of that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real thing.
If I would go to therapy, if I could
See,
just
I'm
make my ass
of
therapy.
two minds on therapy. It helps a lot of people, but I personally I don't get anything out of it. And
Let me show my shirt. Let me show my shirt.
please,
It says, I told my therapist about you. I did.
what are your thoughts on therapy?
On therapy,
Yeah.
we talked about this just the other day.
Yeah.
The best therapy I've ever found in my entire life, and believe me, I've had a lot of therapy, has been doing the podcast. I hear myself saying the fucking words.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
You know, it's different.
Is that better than talking to a therapist, do you think? Because you're working it out yourself
Yeah, in
and
real
you're-
time.
and you're...
And it's like everybody out there almost becomes an accountability partner for me.
Well, I feel like most people are always looking for a savior or a political candidate or somebody who's going to save them. When in reality, we need to save ourselves. That is,
Absolutely.
to me, I don't want to get into the whole theory of Christ consciousness, but, you know, that's what I believe.
That's a lot of pressure to put on someone else. That is a lot of pressure to put on somebody else. I expect you to save me.
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
unfair. That it's not your responsibility to save me. It's my responsibility to save
But people
myself.
can help.
People
Certain
can help,
people
yes.
can come along and affect.
They're
Nicole's a great
absolutely.
example. Somebody who, and she's not a great example to
She's
me at all.
definitely not a great
But,
example.
but she was an influence.
Absolutely.
Because what she was doing at the time and stories she told me, it changed the trajectory of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that did it save me? No, I ended up making choices, but it was based on events that happened that caused me to think, and you know, so I feel like ultimately nobody's going to come here and save us.
No.
It doesn't matter who we elect or who
You're
know
right.
is
You're
selling
absolutely right.
fucking what car or whatever it is, or who's preaching on the pulpit. We have the choice
Mm-hmm.
to listen to certain people or to not listen to certain people and make our own choices. But I feel like as Americans, we have just shunned all accountability for anything. We want to blame the quarterback or the coach
Yep.
or the fucking president or Congress or whoever it is. And it's like, you know, we got our own problems too as a people, like as a society.
Absolutely.
We're not perfect. As individuals, we're not perfect. But it's so easy to point the finger and say, that person is a devil, you know.
Yeah.
It might be one thing about, and I've talked about this many times about, you know, we just talk about Trump. You know, if you support Trump, you get put in this little box of being a racist. Well, yeah, but it comes with a whole lot of nasty things. And it's like, are there those people that support Trump? 100%. But not all. But we do it on the right, too. It's like everybody on the left is, you know, a communist, you know, wacko child molester. That's not true, but that's the narrative
Yeah.
that gets pushed. So both sides see the other as this devil, when in reality, if you just sat down and had a conversation with somebody.
In reality, most Americans are here.
Yes.
Not here,
Yes.
but here.
Absolutely.
My biggest issue with politics right now is why the fuck do we have 70 to 80-year-old people making decisions for us when the average age of Americans is somewhere in the 40s? What the fuck? They're out of touch with America. They're out of touch with where we need to be as a society, as a people. They're not going to stop progress. Progress is going to continue to happen. Evolution is going to continue to happen. It's what happens. As we grow smarter, as people start to grow smarter, things are going to evolve. Things are going to change.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop it. We need fresh ideals. We need people who aren't afraid to make changes in command of all of us, like not in command of us, but you know, in leadership roles.
Yes, yeah.
What we have now
Cult
across the
management, yeah.
board is not literally a dictatorship, but pretty much.
Yeah.
We need leaders, not bosses, if that makes sense.
Well, a couple theories there. Just to talk about why there's a bunch of old people running the show. Once you get into power and you buy out everything around you, you're not going to give that power up.
No,
And why is
exactly.
Nancy Pelosi still in office? Why
She
is
don't
Mitch
need to be there.
McConnell still
He
in
don't
office?
need to be there.
Why is Biden still? You know, like
No.
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of corruption. It's a lot of control. You don't want these young bucks coming up and threatening
Exactly.
you, right? So why do these senators get elected for decades and decades and decades? Nobody has a chance. And secondly, the other point is that good people will get destroyed in that environment.
Absolutely.
You will
I've said that before.
You'll either get your ass kicked because it's such an evil game, or you will
you'll
become evil
yep.
like them.
Exactly. I have said that
It
a
is set up for
million
that.
times.
Well, then we agree on that
A
for
million
sure.
times.
And that's a
Corruption
problem.
breeds corruption.
Yes. So you get the most psychopathic, egotistical people who make it to the top.
Absolutely.
And love Trump or not, he's an egotistical maniac. Like,
Yeah, he is.
right? Like that's obvious.
Incubus wrote a song about that.
Did they?
Megalomaniac.
Is that about him?
No, it's not about him.
Oh.
It's about that condition, that human condition.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Black
yeah.
Sabbath has a song called Megalomaniac too.
Really?
From back on, I think it's on Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. I think it might be on. It's on one of them.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
You like Sabbath?
I like Ozzy.
You like Ozzy better than Sabbath?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Black Sabbath was still together when I was young, but Ozzy had, by the time I was really enjoying music other than what my parents
What year
listened
were you
to.
born?
76.
Okay.
So by the
76.
time I was able to choose what I listened
Yeah.
to, Ozzy was on his own. And
Yeah.
so while I like some Black Sabbath, Ozzy
He
Ozzy
definitely
is
took
not-
it to a different.
yeah.
It was more commercial. It was
Yeah.
more radio friendly. I mean, Sabbath is kind of slow, and so, unless you're a musician, I think a lot of musicians like Sabbath because they've got some sick riffs. And,
Right.
You know, there's some really cool musical things going on. But as just a casual listener,
I didn't say I didn't respect them musically. I said I didn't really care for them.
Yeah. No. Right, yeah. No. That's a good. There's a difference.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
it's like Tool is a great example.
I love
I
Maynard.
fucking hate Tool.
Oh my
I
god!
can't stand them, but I have every one of the records.
I love
because I
Maynard.
want to listen to the guitar parts
He-
and the drum parts.
Maynard is a lyrical genius.
But it's
That-
not. It's the
oof.
marriage of the voice and the lyrics.
It is. It is.
God damn,
But
he's
he
one of
can
the
write a
best.
song.
Yeah.
He can write. He has 3 different bands that he's in.
Is it
Pussifer?
Pussifer? Yeah.
Perfect Circle and Tool. And he does different stuff with each
oh
band.
yeah, they're all. Totally
I've
different.
seen him perform with Tool and with Perfect Circle. In Tool, he's kind of in the background.
Yeah.
He stays in the shadows.
Yeah.
The musicians are the stars.
Yeah.
The other musicians, because he's really just the voice
Yeah.
and the lyrics.
But he's still a huge part of the band.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
but he's like, I've seen him up in the rafters. I've seen him back
Yeah.
behind the drum
Yeah.
kit. You know, you never see the fucking lead singer behind the drum kit, but he
I
does
remember hearing
that.
rumors about that in the '90s when Tool was just getting started. It's like the lead singer doesn't show his face, like he stays in the shadows.
He was so weird.
You know, and I didn't really believe it until the internet started coming. You see, I've never seen him live, but
Yeah.
I've seen.
But then A Perfect Circle is about the lyrics. It's about the
Yeah.
the song. It's about the words. It's about the melody of the lyrics. And so he's more up front with them.
Who's
I
that?
haven't seen Pussifer.
Who is the guitar? Billy Howardell?
I don't
Is that the
remember
guitar
their
player
names.
for Perfect Circle? He was Adam Jones's guitar tech for a long time. That's how they met.
He's fantastic. All of them are. Like just the musicianship
Pussifer's my
of
favorite
all of them.
of his bands.
That does not surprise me.
No?
No. Not hearing what you talked about with Sabbath and knowing what kind of music you play, it does not surprise me that Pussifer is more your style.
But it's not even necessarily my style. It's quirkier. It's a side of Maynard that's a lot less mysterious and a lot more fun.
yeah.
Because Tool is
I get
very
that.
fucking serious. You
I get
know,
that.
you have to have an engineering degree just to listen to the album. I saw you know Dream Theater.
Uh-huh.
So their drummer Mike Portnoy was on the Vimeo channel. It's like a drum channel,
Uh-huh.
and he's one of the best drummers in the world. I mean, Dream Theater's up there,
Right.
with one of the most progressive metal bands of all time. And he's trying to learn Danny Carey's drum parts. I can't remember what song it was, but he was having trouble with it.
Probably Enema.
It wasn't Enema. It was off. It was off something off Lateralis. I think it was a later,
Oh.
more recent.
So it seems like Enema that song would be a very difficult drum line
All
to
of
learn.
his songs are difficult. He doesn't just.
No.
You know,
No.
every single thing is, and that frustrates. I don't know if you've seen any of Maynard's interview. I think it might have been on Joe Rogan, but he was being interviewed saying I want to do more, but it takes them years to write this stuff because it's so complicated.
Yeah.
So they're, I don't know.
But that just shows you what kind of musicians they are.
Oh,
They're all of them. And in all three bands, all of them are geniuses.
but like Adam Jones for Tool, for example, like he's not like a Zach Wilde. He's not a shredder.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
he's
a very good guitar player in his own right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for lots of different diversity of guitar playing or drumming. There's some, like Ringo Starr is a great example. Like, was he a good drummer or was he not?
He was not a good singer.
No, I'm not. No,
I'm not a Ringo fan. I'm not.
I'm asking about the drums, though.
He was decent on drums.
If you only heard the drum
for that time period, I would say
but
he
for
was
that
decent.
for that band, I don't think you find anybody better. You can listen to almost any Beatles song with only listen to the drums and know what song it is, because he put such a personality on it, and the quality of the songwriting was lended to a lot of that. But
Okay.
that's one of those arguments, because I always grew up shitting on Ringo. It's like Ringo sucks, because you had guys like Keith Moon and John Bonham, but at the time those people didn't exist yet.
Right.
Ringo was one of the first rock star drummers.
True.
So if you can put it in context of when they came out, I think he was a trailblazer. I think he was.
I can see that.
By today's standards, yeah, he's not much, but for what the Beatles were doing and what he came up with to stay on their level and make those songs, you can't listen to a Beatles song and say, the drums suck. They don't. They're great.
It's a cohesive. Like, the Beatles are completely cohesive.
And when they split, I don't feel like any of them were particularly great. Did y'all like any of the Beatles solo, Nicole?
I'm a McCartney
I liked
fan.
the Monkees.
More of a Monkees girl.
Yeah, I liked the Monkees. Sorry. You guys were like all Black Sabbath and everything, and I was like,
Monkees.
I'm a believer.
if you don't like
Monkeys.
You can fuck it.
That's right. Well, not literally.
Chuck it in the fuck it bucket.
What?
Chuck it in the fuck it bucket.
I like that. That's
One
Is that
of
an
my
original?
staff members gave me that. We went kayaking with a girl that works
chuck
for
it in
me.
the fuck it bucket.
And I was like, fuck it. And she was like, chuck it in the fuck it bucket. And I'm like, bitch, I'm stealing that. So, yeah. I'm a McCartney fan. I love Paul McCartney.
I'm also Team
Wings was
McCartney.
great. Band
They
on the
had their
Run.
moments. I never felt like any of them put out an album of like Abbey Road quality.
Oh, God, no. They were
But-
definitely better together.
Yeah, I was not a fan of John's at all after the Beatles. With the Beatles, I thought he was great. But I think when you're in a relationship with somebody like that, so just for the sake of argument, let's call them the two greatest songwriters of all time. They're in the same band.
Yes.
I want my song to be as good or better than John's.
Right.
And vice versa. So there's a competition going.
There's
Even
a
if it's
level of
friendly.
pushing each other.
That's exactly
Pushing
what it
each
is.
other to become better.
You're pushing each other to become better, and your standard is up here.
Right.
And then when you don't have that influence anymore, and you're surrounded by people who are saying, "Oh, Paul, you're the fucking best,"
Do that again. Do the accent again. Do
No.
it again.
Hold on, please.
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 Why do you do this to me? Just gonna do a little bit bump on the bass there, no?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
You gonna bump the head a bit then?
See, listen, it's the accent. Because I have this regular customer that comes through. We call him the British guy because I don't know his name. And he starts talking and I'm just like, okay.
So our
It's not
accent
even very-
sexy to women?
Sometimes, yes. To some women. I can't. For myself, I can speak for myself. Australian accents and British accents.
I just want to have a bunch of women on the pod to confirm a lot of things my wife won't admit. So
Let's go.
I've got all these other women
Okay.
who are telling. No,
Let's go.
Next question.
I can't understand plain English half the time. I'm so stoned, so understanding an accent wouldn't work for me at
well,
all.
you got to watch the episode dropping. No,
Oh, the
dropped today.
Irishman.
The Irishman dropped today.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, you got to check him out. It was.
He's way too young for me.
Oh no!
You had an Irishman
he's a
on your
baby.
podcast?
He had an Irish.
So my good buddy Jason Green, his daughter's dating a guy from Ireland.
Yeah.
And he was in town, and so I'd asked Green if he wanted to do a pod one night, and he goes, "Yeah," and I'm bringing the Irishman with me. I was like, I never met this guy. Like, all right, let's do it. Anyway, super cool young man. It was really really interesting to hear the accent in real time. Is powerful.
Yeah.
because you're thinking like you're trying to imitate it in your mind. You're like, oh, you got to do the T that way. It's like it's a very hard accent to do. Right.
My old
Like-
boss,
like
his
the
wife
Irish?
is Irish.
Aye.
Yeah, Doug's
Look
wife
at
is
the
Irish.
Irish.
Look at the Irish.
She's been here too long. Her accent's not near as thick as it was, but.
He was saying y'all too, which cracked me up.
Oh my God, y'all in a fucking Irish accent? Oh,
yeah.
I have to
It
watch
sounded
it
like
now.
Lost his
I
fuck.
could be like Y-O-W. Yo.
I asked him about it too. Like, is y'all an Ireland thing? And he was like, "Oh no, it's because I'm in Arkansas." But I think he'd picked it up.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Can you is he back in Ireland today?
I don't know.
Can you imagine him going back to Ireland and whipping out the word y'all?
Might change the world.
Listen, it might be what is necessary to heal the world.
Y'all's a good word.
It is a good
I
word.
use
And
it.
y'alls. That's 2 apostrophes in one word. Come on. You can't get better
Yeah,
than
I
that.
love y'all's.
y'alls. Y'all's gonna. Y'all's
Yeah,
gonna.
I draw the line at y'all's. I don't do y'all's. It's too much for me.
Is it because 2 apostrophes is too hard?
Well,
Grammar.
I was a journalism major. Like we had to,
Oh.
like that stuff. Like work emails drive me nuts. I just want to get the yellow highlighter out and start marking the screen. It's like no, it gets in your brain.
Do you go back
Journalism.
and fix typos
Makes sense.
with
I
an
proofread
asterisk?
I proofread everything 3 times.
Before you send it.
Post it, send it, whatever.
Texts even.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on how big a hurry you're in. Like if you're just,
Yeah.
But,
Nerd.
yeah.
You don't-
Yeah, no. Look
You don't
at your
use, like,
surroundings,
shorthand?
madam. This is not
I like
something
it.
I'm just finding out.
I'm a nerd too. It's okay.
You don't use like shorthand. I've never.
Oh my God, you would
looked at your
probably
text
die.
To see that, like if you write LOL or something.
I
like that.
loathe LOL.
I have
As
never.
a-
I'm gonna have to really start paying attention to Brad Durham's
You'll
text.
never find. I know grown men that do it, and it appalls me.
Ooh, what about LOL?
No, I did use. Well, I used to manage a team, and I was making fun because this was right when all that stuff was coming out, and I was like, there was like ROFL, and so I came up with ROFL, like just a ridiculous, amount of letters, which is where we're going with it.
I remember my first time
Ruffle my fowl, I used to
somebody used one of those. What was that?
Ruffle my fowl.
It's like the.
It was rolling on the floor,
algebra
laughing
squad.
my ass off, and it was like just ruffle my fowl.
I remember
That's
the
a word
first
at that
time
point.
somebody used. Would that be an acronym? An
Yes.
internet acronym?
Yeah.
I remember the first time. I thought he was burping, and so I kept saying it was BRB. I thought he was burping, and I was
That's
like,
cute.
"Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I thought you were burping.
I think a lot of that got started, at least in my experience.
AOL.
Was that
AOL chat rooms,
parenting
Oh,
room?
wait.
or-
I have
Let me see if
friends
she
still
knows.
from AOL
Meet
era.
me in the loft.
I don't think I. Oh yeah.
Ah!
Y'all going in a red now.
Oh.
Listen, Joe. This is something
You
we
meet
can tell.
somebody in the loft. That,
Mm.
and let me tell you about meeting somebody in the loft.
Things got a little racy in the loft.
Whenever you met somebody in the loft, it wasn't just they sent you a message and said, meet me in the loft. When somebody wanted you to meet them in the loft, they had to put that in the chat room. Everybody knew you guys were
everybody
going to
saw
the
it.
loft.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm. So like, when you were a
I was a
teenager
very popular
and
girl
you
in
were
the loft.
at that party and the parents were gone and there were empty bedrooms and you walked out of the party hand in hand with your significant other or whomever to one of the bedrooms. Everybody knew what you was doing.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same concept.
Same concept.
See, like, could you imagine doing that now?
No.
Like, just
Twice a
fucking
day.
some
No.
stranger's bedroom? Like, as kids, you just want to fuck anywhere you can.
Right?
Just give me a flat space and a closed door. But now, like, as an adult, you look at
Yeah.
that and it's like, man, that is so disrespectful.
Yeah. Did that in my friend's parents' bed
And we all have.
a couple times.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Those were some great memories.
I don't dwell on it, but,
She
it's like-
does.
No, like as an adult, you're like, God, we did some stupid shit.
Oh my
as kids.
God.
Like, just not even cognizant that other people exist. You're so selfish when you're young.
Right.
It's how can I gratify myself in this instant? I don't even care about the consequences, short term, let alone long term.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were talking about going down to Texas and you didn't have anybody to hold you accountable, right?
Right.
You can even be surrounded by people who try and reject it all. Because I'm
Absolutely.
going down. I want to do what I want to do, regardless of anything.
Absolutely.
And then as you have responsibilities, you have children, you have you know, a home to pay for, shit, fucking bills,
Responsibilities.
responsibilities.
Damn
Put
it.
that in the dictionary.
That's a good one.
You
Yeah, but
can't.
a lot.
You can't put that in the dictionary because that's from Rugrats.
Damn it.
Oh.
Trademark.
Sorry.
Responsibilities.
That's
Trademark bitches.
Rugrats, huh?
Mhm.
God, I hated that show.
Never
That was my
watched it.
sister's era. Like, that's what she watched on Nicole. I grew up with Ren and Stimpy. And my mom
I love
hated
Ren and
that
See,
shit.
that's what I had.
I love Ren and
Oh my God.
Stimpy.
We'd stay up. We weren't supposed to watch it, so
Same.
we were. Yeah. I think we
Satellite
we
dish,
probably
Mary.
had a similar.
Did you watch it
experience.
scrambled?
No.
No,
I
we,
wa-
but we
but
had
we had a satellite
VCRs
dish.
as
Porn
kids.
scrambled.
And we knew
Yeah,
how to work them better than the
Did
parents
watch
did.
porn
Did you ever
scrambled.
watch
I
scrambled
did watch
porn?
scrambled porn.
I told this on the pod the other night. They used to air the Playboy channel from like noon to 1 on certain days.
For
Just
free.
For free.
Uh-huh.
But it was during school hours. And
Uh-huh.
I lived like 300 yards from the school, and I didn't trust the auto timer to start on time, so I would run home and physically hit record on that shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, teenage boy, right?
Right.
Because
No.
back
I
then
get
we
it.
didn't have porn on our fucking fingertips.
Right.
Now you just go in the bathroom and pull that shit up, I'm sure. God,
I'm
I would
sure.
not.
He doesn't
No,
know.
I'm saying in a teenage boy's restroom in a high school, would you want to clean that shit up?
No.
With the internet?
No.
No fucking way. You want a black light over the ceiling, and it's gonna be, you know.
On the ceiling. Oh my god.
Yeah, think about that. Poor
I
Janet.
am. That's the problem.
I am. Fuck this wig. Dude, this wig is so goddamn
It is
itchy.
getting worse. I think she has a wig nest on.
A net.
Oh,
Or
is
a
that-
wig cap. It's called a wig cap.
Is that how you? Is that
It
mostly?
contains your hair mostly. That's what it does.
The
It's
cap?
like a yeah. It's
This
like
is my hair. She has a
It's
deal
like,
on too.
You have very thick hair.
I very-
she does that. We were just talking about that on
We
the
were.
way here.
You got a
my
healthy head of hair there.
The marijuana.
It's responsible for a lot of good things in my life.
Yes. It's
I was
the
asking
marijuana.
myself if I should take a shower before y'all got
You
over
should
here.
have
So I was like,
definitely taken-
I need Lumi.
You
So
do
I
need
thought to
Lumi.
myself,
Let me
I
talk
need
to you
Lumi.
about Lumi.
Talk to us about
More
Lumi.
than just our armpits stink, you
Anything
know.
that can
so
hold a pencil.
our certified gynecologist Sharon Clayman. You caught me
Gynecologicalist.
You caught me off guard. Yes, that was my second national ad. I was very happy to get.
That was a
So,
fun ad though, because you're like voicing over yourself.
Yeah.
It was good. You did well.
I do not do the production on my shit, Brad.
Well, whoever did it,
We
did a
know
good
it's
job.
Phil.
Why do
Fuck
you always
Phil.
got to give him credit?
Because I'm dumb and I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
I think that's where my mind went to.
Gwen
dumb and I'm
Stefani and
just a
Gavin
girl.
Rossdale. What was that like? Where
Well,
were you?
Apparently,
when you
it
heard-
wasn't as good as Blake Shelton.
I was so sad when I saw that
She
she
goes
left
that country.
Gavin for fucking Blake. It's
You were sad.
I was sad.
I didn't think he's Blake's probably more of a real man than Gavin. Gavin's kind of a wuss.
I don't know. I just think
And
that
he was
he's
also fucking the nanny, who looks just like Gwen Stefani. Like, come on, dude. I mean, I get it. Guy's gonna try and prowl when he can, but
the great value version.
I don't know.
Come
I
on.
don't know. Gavin was hot. Gavin's hotter.
he's
than
an
Blake.
attractive man
He's
for
just-
sure.
He's just way better.
He's an attractive man.
I don't look at men I'm married.
Mm-hmm. You look at women instead, yeah.
I do look at women now.
Because she's living
With her
vicariously
Wonder
through
Woman
me.
I'm
fucking.
living vicariously.
Did you say vicariously? Oh, nice.
She did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
She told me to. I'm living vicariously.
Yeah.
Listen, that is a hilarious story because what had happened was
See, what happened was,
about a year and a half ago, I was on a delivery order and I was at Walmart picking up the groceries. And there was a young lady who was just having some personal questions about herself. And she just comes up to me and she goes, "You're bisexual, right?" So I just rode with it. I'm like,
sure.
I very well could be. I would consider myself at this point in my life open if I weren't married.
Yeah. Do you think it's gone too far, the wokeness?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I do. I don't understand some things, like
Well, I think it started out with a good
Furriness?
place. Yeah.
furries and
yeah,
stuff like that. I don't
yeah.
get that. I don't, but I try not to be judgmental because just because I don't get it doesn't mean that it's not valid for somebody else.
Sure.
Now, as
Certainly.
long as you ain't messing with babies and kids, I don't give a fuck.
Well, I was just
Josh
about to
Tucker,
say,
yeah.
my only problem with any of it is introducing kids to it. Because I don't think they need to be introduced to straight sex.
No, they shouldn't be introduced to
no
any kind of sex.
sexuality. You're
But I
right.
also don't feel like the queer lifestyle, as far as seeing a same-sex couple out,
Right.
should be hidden from them either.
I don't either. What I'm talking about, I'll tell you specifically what I'm talking about, is like drag queen story hours, where they're dressed provocatively in sexual clothing and simulating sex acts in front of kids, and kids going to these like stripper shows. I don't think they ought to be seeing any kind of.
I don't think they should be seeing that
Like
shit
that.
either, but I want to know where that's happening.
The sex acts thing.
If it's an all-ages show, most of the time, it's been my experience, if it's an all-ages show, it's not like that. It's more like evening gowns and classy, like dancing and singing still,
Yeah.
but no sexualism at all.
Oh, there's.
In my experience. Now, if it's happening somewhere else, I can't say because I've not seen it.
Yeah.
But like everything I've seen has
Right-wing
been
media
respectful.
collects a lot of that stuff, and it's legit. Like there's videos from actual stuff, and I'm not saying it's everywhere, but I just don't like kids getting involved with any kind of sexuality. You know, I didn't want to have the sex talk with my oldest one until he was ready for it. You know,
Yeah.
because you're a kid, let him be a kid.
Right.
Don't confuse him more with it. You know,
Right.
it's already confusing enough. Like just let them be kids until they start asking questions, and then when they do, then it's
Right. I agree with you on
right.
that.
So let them kind of get to that. And that's part of public education too.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What about Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire? That was drag. And it
Yeah,
was
but
okay.
it wasn't a sexual.
Exactly, but
thing.
most of everything I have seen has been on the up and up, and has been just people, males dressing as females.
But if you
reading to
take
kids.
my word for it, then I can provide some of those videos. You would agree that's not a good.
That's
thing.
not a good
So,
thing.
okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean,
That's
like you
my
said,
only
let's
concern
let them
with all
let's
of
let
it.
them be kids as long as they can be kids.
Yeah.
Now, when they start having questions, just like you said,
Yeah.
when they start having questions, I believe that's when you start talking to them on their level. If they're
Yes.
7 or 8 years old and they start asking you questions, then you respond to them like a 7 or 8 year old can understand.
Mhm.
You don't go into
Absolutely.
detail
No.
where a 12-year-old would understand.
Right.
That's different. So yeah, no, I don't believe that they should be exposed to that kind of shit either.
Yeah. See, that's my only thing that I
I
don't care.
think they should be educated to know when somebody's doing something inappropriate. I do believe that.
No, I agree with that too.
I also found out through some life circumstances that if you teach your children pet names for the private areas,
Mhm.
your genitals, if you don't use the proper names, they can't pursue charges against somebody. If
Wait.
say the little girl uses the word cupcake for her vagina,
Okay.
and she says, "Uncle Bobby touched my cupcake," they
That
can't
doesn't-
pursue any kind of charges because that could be anything. It has to be,
Good God.
yeah, it has to be a anatomically correct word for it. I found that out when my granddaughter was only 3.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it's real fucked. People don't know that.
Well,
And so we give them these cutesy little names for things, like Tutu is what we called it for her.
right.
And that's what my parents called it for me. That's what I called it for my kids. I never ever imagined that we would ever be in a position where she would have to go talk to the Child Safety Center. And I'm not going to go into any details about that because it's just
No.
not. But anyway, because she said tutu instead of vagina, there was absolutely nothing they could do. Because a lawyer can argue that that could be anything.
Yeah, we live in a judicial society.
We absolutely do.
So you were talking about educating kids about abuse and that
Mhm.
kind of thing, but I'll give you a flip side to that.
Okay.
So I had an aunt that was abused when she was young,
Mhm.
and she got me this children's book, and it was basically about a kid getting molested, and it was it was illustrated and words that I could read, and I had no idea that could even happen, and it fucked me up. So I was like 6 or 7 years old, and it's like, why would a grown-up do that? You know, now I'm asking questions because this book fucked me up. So, like, when does it...
How do you do it?
I get what you're saying.
How
like,
do you make it to where
how do
they
you
know?
make a kid know this is wrong without fucking them up in the process?
I don't really have a clear answer for that. I know what I do. I know what I started doing with her. And it was more along the lines of, we are the only ones that need to see you naked.
Yeah, that's what we did with our
First of
kids.
all.
Like, if anybody asked to touch or see
Swim
anything,
scenarios.
that's highly...
When she was old enough to clean herself, she cleaned herself.
Absolutely.
I stopped doing that kind of stuff for her. You know, and I told her that is your own private spot and nobody can touch it but you.
Yeah.
If you have an infection, then the doctor can look at you. If there's something wrong, then we have to look at those things. But if somebody comes up to you and wants you to be naked or wants to touch you in those spots, that is not okay. And you need to come tell me.
Yeah.
And I won't be mad at you.
That's how I did it too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of any other...
I don't know what the right answer is. I just know
think
what was
that
right
is
for
it.
my family.
I think that was it. Well, that's another good point. What's right for somebody may not be right for your family.
Right.
And people want to just generalize on everything.
You can't generalize.
Because
you
every
have
family-
multiple children. You know, every
Yes,
child is
ma'am.
different. Every fucking kid is different. I have 2 daughters and a granddaughter, and all 3 of them are different.
Yeah.
I raised my granddaughter till she was 5, and there were so many different things with her than there were with my 2 kids.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, you could beat the absolute piss out of her, and she wouldn't give a shit. She'd look at you and laugh.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter, she'd come tell on herself.
Yeah.
Ellie is just a very fragile. You can't get on to her too hard. It breaks her heart.
Is that
And
a generational thing?
I don't know.
Because we have gotten a lot softer as parents than our parents were and our grandparents
Well,
were.
I don't know about softer. I changed some things that I did with her than I did with my
Well, I'm
kids.
generalizing.
You know,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I found the value in not spanking as much with my granddaughter. Spanking at first, yes, because that's what I knew. That's
Sure.
what I was raised with. That's what I did with my kids. And it didn't work with her. It didn't solve anything with her.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started allowing her to have her feelings and talking things through with her, we started making way more headway. And all of those little outbursts and stuff like that
Well, that's a good
decreased by
point.
a
Talking
whole
through it, being
lot.
honest with them and understand.
They don't know how to process their feelings. They don't know how to deal
And
with
parents
them.
used to not be willing to talk about any of that. You
No.
weren't even allowed to have feelings.
No!
At one point
Quit
in
crying
time.
or I'll give you something to cry about. I mean, what the hell? How many
What
times
if-
did you hear that? How many
Oh.
times did you hear that?
That's a shitty attitude.
It
That's a
absolutely
shit
is.
attitude. But that made me, and this might be true for you too, that made me change how I did things.
It didn't with my kids, but it did with my granddaughter.
Okay.
With my kids, I did what I was raised with. Am I proud of it? Not really. But that's what I
How
knew.
old were you when you had your first?
I was a month away from being 19. And
you were a baby yourself.
Yeah, and my mama
Yeah.
died in 98. She
Yeah.
was born in 95, and my mama died in 98. And my daddy, I mean, like, he took care of us, but he wasn't the parent, you know what I
Right.
mean? My mother was. And so when mama died, I didn't have somebody to really lean on
Yeah.
in those parental questions that I had. So I just did what I was raised with. Not blaming her, because she did what she was raised with. You know what I mean?
I think generally most parents are doing what they think is best.
Absolutely. For the most part, yes.
For the most part. So,
There's
yeah.
always going to be one-offs.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you almost have to generalize just
Yeah.
for the sake of conversation, you know. But yeah, I certainly think it's gotten easier to talk about feelings and stuff like that. But I think it's also kind of gone too far, where the kids are now holding the reins in a lot of families, and the
In a
parents
lot,
just
yes.
will not discipline at all.
Yes.
And so I think we've swung almost too far.
I agree with you on that. For I don't know if it's the majority. Again, I don't know if it's the majority or if it's the ones that are just the loudest. You know?
That's a really good lesson, and I think people really need to hearken to that. Is that it's not necessarily representative of a group; it's the loudest, and the loudest do not represent. It's the vocal minority,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But they give the name to everyone else,
Absolutely.
which isn't really fair
No.
because everyone else you might have.
But it happens everywhere, like you
But
said. It happens all across the board. It doesn't matter what side of the political line you're
that's
on.
why right-wing media will show child drag shows. They'll
Yeah.
show the most extreme things and say they're all like this.
Yeah.
Right? or the left-wing media will show some racist Trump supporter and say they're all like this.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have both sides believing the other is the most extreme opposite example of what you think America should be.
Mm-hmm.
And they do this by design.
Absolutely.
They want us
to keep us divided, because if we're together, they can't
pull this shit
off. Exactly. Because if we are bound together, if we come together and go, we're fucking sick of this, we're done. They can't stop us.
But people
it would
need
be
to
another
be doing
American
more
Revolution.
of what we're doing right now.
Yes.
And less of this fucking silos and...
Do you think that's a possibility, though? Do you think that in this
Not in this
climate,
generation.
it will ever happen?
We're doing it right now.
We are.
And that gives me hope. Because I didn't think I could do anything like this a year ago. Right? But I made the choice to do it. Right? Like, if I'm going to bitch about it and not do anything about it, then I really kind of need to shut up.
Yeah.
Right? But if, like, and I don't, how do you help a country? How do you bring people? I don't know. All I can do is talk to people in my community. That's, and just try and find commonalities.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people I know who are, on opposite sides of the aisle for one thing or another. And then you talk to that person, and then you find, you've got a whole lot of things in common.
Mm-hmm.
But this one thing, right, should that be enough to, I believe in frequencies, right? So we're all on different frequencies.
Yes,
you guys
absolutely.
have your frequency. If you're aligned on more harmonic frequencies than you're not, you should be able to develop, if not a friendship, a commonality.
Mm-hmm.
But we let these one or two little things, we dwell on them and focus on them and blow them into this out of proportion thing and demonize that person. And then, we all do it to an extent. I'm guilty of it too.
Right. I've been guilty of it.
Sure. It's human nature.
I think so.
It is absolutely human nature. But being open-minded and considering, hey, maybe there is something of value to the other side. And I don't think either side believes that.
In Arkansas, you have to register one party or the other. It sucks. I hated it when I fucking did it the first time. I don't identify as a Democrat, but I do identify more on the left side of things than I do on the right side of things. Yeah. I don't know what to call myself. I want what's best for the country across the board.
I believe you do.
I want what's best for the majority of Americans.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be able to do what's best for 100%.
Or what's beautiful about America is we've got 50 states. Every state can do it their way. Like that.
But then when you come into that, what happens if somebody's born into a state, like me, born into Arkansas, who's now a red state, used to be a blue state, now a red state. Obviously, I align more with the left and more with the blue side of things. Can't really afford to move out of Arkansas and change my circumstances. So how do we remedy that?
That's a good point. Hell, it's expensive to move across town,
right?
Let alone out of state. So I get it. But we at least have that option. They don't have that in fucking Gaza.
It's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
We at least have the option, even if it's tough. Like, we're not perfect.
No. I just don't know that there'll ever be a time where there's complete harmony and unity in any country.
You a Star Trek fan at all?
I was...
Star
Trek, old Star Trek, yes, like old stuff.
Well, sure, we're talking about the old Star Trek, but like, that's a federation of planets, right?
Yes.
So you had not only Earth, but all these other alien races all working together to, it was a beautiful vision of the future, whether it's realistic or not. But that always gave me hope and stuff like that. That was like, we've solved hunger and homelessness and poverty and all these things.
Wouldn't that be great?
Is it realistic? Probably not. Because you have greed and addiction and whatever makes us human makes us evil, just as it makes us good.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. That's a good question. Like, are we capable of it?
I don't know if we are.
We are definitely capable of destroying ourselves.
Absolutely.
We know this.
Empire upon empire has done that.
Yeah.
Look at the Roman Empire.
Do you feel like we're in the last stages of an empire if you look at Rome and...
I do, somewhat. I don't feel like it's going to go down like Rome with total destruction. I think that there will be some rough times. I don't know that we'll see it.
Really?
I don't know that we'll see it.
In our lifetime?
In our lifetime.
You don't think Civil Wars...
I don't think that... I don't know. It's hard.
No matter who wins in 2024, you don't think the other side?
Well, no matter who wins in 2024, the other side's going to be pissed off.
That's what
I mean, we're so fucked either fucking way.
You,
but I don't know that the majority of people are ready to fight like that.
No, they're not.
And I just don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't honestly say. Right now,
that's
so many
also
things
kinda
are so
sad,
weird in my
though.
world that my brain has some trouble talking about other things right now. So.
Well, it's such a global level thing, and
Yeah.
we get is the information we're given.
Yeah.
So it's real easy to make decisions and opinions based on what you know, but like the government's going to tell you what you're allowed to know.
Yeah.
You know, it's all you got to do is say national security, and it's classified. You know, so
Unless you declassify it in your own brain.
yeah, you do that. That's what I like about RFK. He wants
Shawna gets high and declassifies in her own brain at night. Noted. Go ahead.
while you're in the bathtub for 6 hours.
That's 3.5.
Do you not just get wrinkled as a prune in there?
No, I don't. I don't because I stay hydrated. I take 108 ounces of fluid in there with me.
You rub down with mink oil,
No, it's
Mink oil.
lavender oil.
fat of baby seals.
It is fat of baby Nick. And then I fill up the tub every 30 minutes with hot water until I hear it make that sound. It's slurping down the deal, and I know that
It's time to turn
I
it off.
can just see you in like the 1600s sitting in
Please
a tub
don't see
yelling.
me.
More,
In a
well, you're
tub.
covered in water. You can't.
You're in
actually
a
see
clawfoot tub, and you're
it. You see it from the
neck.
side. All you can see is
Thank you.
yeah,
And
it's
you're
a
like-
side angle.
Nobody see me in a tub right now.
You're like,
Grapes?
Says the lady who just teased naked pictures of herself.
I did.
Don't visit
Shawna
me in a
hasn't-
tub. You
Shawna
can't-
hasn't heard the
wait,
show.
what?
I have a laptop that has run out of storage space, but I can't take it to a computer person to have it fixed because somewhere reside naked pictures of me, either on the computer or on the hard drive.
That is hard.
So I think I'm just gonna have to buy a new computer.
Wait a minute. We have.
I have a 2 terabyte hard drive.
You have 2 studio laptops.
Nothing's broken with it.
I have 2 studio laptops because I can't.
Dear God.
Because I can't
Hold on.
get
No. Let's talk about the night you took these pictures. What the fuck were you thinking?
God, you look good, girl.
I mean,
I've never
God
thought that
forbid
about
something happened to my
myself, but-
phone. Just saying.
Huh?
I said, God forbid something happened to my phone. I'm just saying.
She's got them too.
We all have them.
Well, you don't-
we
We
all.
don't all.
Here is a no.
Nobody
No.
wants to see beer belly and
Listen,
small
this
dick.
is- you said you wanted answers to questions that your wife wanted
Yeah,
to
there
answer.
we
Honestly,
go.
We all have them.
You don't
We all have them. Doesn't mean that they got sent to anybody, but we all have them.
I take pictures whenever I get out of the shower or the bath. I take pictures. I can show them to her right now, not you.
Why?
My skin is glowing. My lips are. I probably take pictures after I get it. I
Y'all
take
are fucking
selfies.
savages.
I take
Women.
selfies after I get out of the bathtub.
God
probably
damn.
every time I get.
We're Googling
You
over
said
here.
superpowers.
These
Yeah.
are the superpowers.
All right.
I feel good. I'm like, okay, I can go to bed and take advantage of myself now. I'm good with that.
Thank God we can do that.
We can too.
These last 2.5 years would be rough if that was not a possibility.
Hear you, girl.
So would you consider yourselves a representative of the majority of women, though? Because I would not.
I don't know.
Whoa.
Doesn't mean
You
I
would
don't-
not.
Doesn't mean I don't love you.
I love you too, but I want to know how.
Don't.
I don't know. I mean,
Y'all are a little
I would
more.
say that the majority of my friends,
I'm
the majority of my
representative
female
women
friends,
my age.
are the same way. The majority of my female friends are exactly
Right, because
Yeah.
you're on the same frequencies with them.
That's true.
But
That's true.
I would not consider y'all to be the typical Northwest Arkansas women.
They say we're odd.
You are. That's a good thing. You are yourselves,
It's true.
right?
No apologies.
You have
But
put
listen,
society. I think that's a good thing.
Whenever I hear people comment on the show or whatever, it's like you're saying what I wish I could.
That's it right there.
So are we not representative of the people, or are we not representative of your ideal of the typical?
You're not representative of what people portray of themselves. Because you're saying this is who I am, and I don't give a fuck what you think about it. That's why I think even though we might disagree on a lot of things, we're all on that frequency.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Fucking, well, here, Stillwell designed it perfectly. If you don't like it, I mean,
fuck it.
Get a Vanna White the
you
shit.
know, but it takes some bravery.
Thanks, Stillwell.
People are terrified to be themselves.
Yeah,
It
they
is
really
terrifying to be yourself on a platform where.
Well, you're a lot of yourself.
It's so true. Potato salad, legs and all. I am a whole fucking
Dude, I'll
lot.
never forget when you said that to Audie.
That was funny.
Was it the what did he say? Is it the elastic?
Oh, I had socks. By the way, Shawna, I want to commend you on your sock selection because I have the same damn ones
I have
in
some.
all different colors.
I have some white ones that
Wow.
have pink stripes. I have some
Uh-huh.
black ones that have white
Look at
stripes.
this. Same frequency. We have the exact same socks, just different colors. But I had
Thank you, Amazon.
this exactly Amazon. The stuff that had,
Amazon has ruined this country. We'll get into that later.
the stuff that had come with my wig and stuff came with thigh high USA socks.
Yes!
The problem is
Your
I
thighs are
have
too big.
potato salad legs, and so he was confused as to what potato salad legs. But he says, "Does that? Oh, that your elastic won't stretch to the top?" I said, "No, my thighs are just too fat."
And what was funny is his reaction to it. It's like, should I laugh or should he? Because he's a young lad.
That's
He's in his
funny.
30s, early 30s.
Yeah.
I hope you don't go down a downward spiral on the beer.
She's not.
Okay, keep an eye on her.
Keep an eye on
She
her.
loves that
with this
fucking Bud Light.
One
I do
beer.
too.
I love it.
I love Bud Light.
seeing it. Bud Light's back, people. I'm sticking with the Natty because I'm on a budget.
I mean,
light.
I like
My
Natty
budget,
Light.
too. I
God.
just don't drink a lot.
Do you like it, or can you tolerate it? Like, does anyone really like it? Like,
After the first one, I like it.
that's the thing. After 19 of these,
Tastes pretty fucking good.
I mean, floating on my floaty in the pool trying to read a book, Natty Light's pretty
let me
goddamn
tell
good.
you, a beer in the pool the other day.
Woo!
Hit the fucking
Girl.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
does.
god.
Yeah, listen, I have a floating cooler. It's supposed to be a floating cooler, right? But I have to put my little cooler inside of it because the ice melts in it so fast. I put my beer in the cooler and put the cooler in the cooler and it floats around with me and I'm just like I'm on my floaty and I'm like this going to get a beer like fuck.
I'll tell you something about feeling isolated. Because where you're like the minority, Americans love their fucking water. They love their pools, their lakes, their oceans. I fucking hate it. All of it.
Wow.
I hate getting wet. I hate shower. Like, I do not
I mean,
like...
I kind of like getting wet, but
Well, yeah, well...
Go ahead, Bradley.
Yeah, way to
Anyway.
derail that. No,
you're welcome.
I set it up. I mean, she had every right.
I'll be honest, I was thinking
He
it.
went like this. Ta-da!
I was thinking it, and Shauna said it because we were
I
vibrating.
just
on
shot
the
it and she slammed dunk.
Dude, I was like, Colby.
Was that the helicopter? I like this lady.
Yeah.
This lady. What were we talking about?
Thanks, I like you too. We were talking about you were in the minority because
Oh,
we all
hating
like
water.
water and you hate it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you a cat? Maybe you identify as a cat.
I
He's a furry.
identify.
I had to. I'm sorry. Like I had to. No, I'm
I
not
identify
sorry.
as a lesbian boomer.
There you.
That's how.
Lesbian.
So he's me with boots.
A lesbian boomer.
I do identify as a boomer for real. Like I.
Get off
What
my
am I? I
No,
don't even
not
know
that
what-
way. Not in that way. In the way that, like, I felt like my grandparents were like, we're done learning. Like, you kids and your video games and your recorded music. Like, we're, we don't want to learn anymore, right? We'll just like you either have to adapt or you die.
Mm-hmm.
But things have changed so fast in the last 20 years that I'm like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to learn anymore.
You're overwhelmed.
I'm totally fucking overwhelmed,
So you know what is the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's very true.
So you take it one little technological advance at a time.
Well, that's
Just
what I'm
a little
doing
bit
with the
at a
pod.
time.
I'm just one day, every day I'm trying to do something, like I'm getting everything on Spotify.
Yeah,
see that.
good.
Yep. I'm getting all that stuff up there, getting it on Rumble. Somebody was telling me Pandora. Are you on Pandora?
You know, I think I might be, but I don't, I don't recall.
Did you go through a company to get put
My
your stuff on?
RSS feed? My RSS feed is strictly through Spotify, which distributes it to everybody.
Okay.
I just don't know what I'm on. I know I'm on the top 4, so that's all I
You sent me a legal document today.
I sent you a picture of what I did today at the office by myself, all by myself,
That made me
with no
sad.
help. It's a podcast release form, and
It's basically.
So now we're gonna have to sign a release form.
just one.
I don't want to.
Oh, it's not like the fucking guest book that we have to sign every goddamn time we walk through the
No,
door.
That's
this
right.
is legalese.
Right,
I'm
right.
sorry that made you
If
sad.
I'm selling genuine signatures, they can't be repeats. I need to clip out the actual. If y'all get famous, that's my fucking investment book. Okay? Don't
All right.
judge me.
I already told you
Okay.
mine.
God
I
damn it,
heard,
Shawna.
heard. Listen, but if you make money off of us, we get royalties.
We'll see.
Unfortunately, that's
We'll see.
covered in the podcast release form.
Oh no! I couldn't read the.
Oh, you mean the print was too small?
Yes.
Darn it.
That was purposeful.
Gosh
I'm the
darn.
kind of guy. This will probably be prophetic, but it's like I'm not gonna
not
ask
gonna make
anybody
you
of
sign
that
a release.
until I get fucked. And you know what I mean?
No, you want to sign the NDA long before you get fucked.
Well, I know, but I've always got to learn the hard way.
Long before you get
Well, we were
fucked.
talking about faith in humanity earlier.
Yeah.
If we're capable of destroying ourselves, I believe we're equally capable of saving ourselves.
I believe that too, but which side will win? Which side of our
They need
ego?
to, they
Will
need to, they
ego
need to
win?
merge. They need to merge. We need to stop being tribal. We need to be one entity. But people need to start being more open-minded. Both sides.
I totally agree with that.
And that's the solution. That's the solution.
Open to understanding.
But what happens to people in the middle? RFK runs as an independent. Both sides destroy this guy. Because neither side wants to give up power. And it's like if there's a third party who's moderate, they're going to win every fucking time.
Moderate. That's what I would consider myself. Moderate.
Left-leaning moderate.
Left-leaning moderate, yes.
Whereas I'm a right-leaning
I'm going to
moderate.
tell you right now, that'll never fucking work. A third party will never, ever reach the White House until the
Nope.
Electoral College is abolished. And in order to do that, we have to have, I think it's 2/3 of the United States in agreement of the states. 2/3 of the states in agreement, because it will take a change to our Constitution.
Yeah.
We don't need the
It
Electoral College anymore.
You don't think so?
No. The only reason why we had it was because many Americans couldn't actually travel to polling places. It was back when we first established as a country, back when travel was hard and you didn't have as many polling. Every city has a couple of polling spaces now.
Well, the counter argument, I'm not super educated on this,
Sure.
but I've heard the argument in that the reason we're a constitutional republic, not a democracy, is that sometimes you get mob rule, right? You don't want, just because it's the majority doesn't make it right. So they wanted checks on the democracy. So that's why the states get a certain number of votes versus a pure popular vote, where the states end up getting, I don't know, I'm not explaining this very well, but
No, I get what you're saying.
to where it gives power to the state versus the population. But I also hadn't heard what you said. I get your point too.
I don't understand how.
But here's what's funny. It depends on whose candidate is winning. Because I've heard both sides criticize the Electoral College if the other side was winning. You know what I mean?
I criticize it either fucking way.
Well, see, then there you go.
But again, I'm a left-leaning moderate. I believe in some things that the Republican side of things.
But you would
believes in.
probably agree with me in that we need less federal government.
I agree with that. Yes.
We need to decentralize
Yes.
the federal government. Okay, Roe versus Wade.
Whoa! I don't know if you want to go there with me.
We had a good talk with Ray about this.
Okay, let's try it. We can
Let's
try
try
it. Roe versus Wade.
This is not a topic that's important to me, like it is to you.
Roe versus Wade, in my opinion, was holding states accountable for what the majority wanted. In my opinion, Arkansas didn't even put it up to popular vote in Arkansas. Our legislators,
when it was overturned.
Well, we had a trigger law.
We had a trigger
law in place.
Yeah.
So what happened was our House and our Senate, which was Republican majority,
Yes.
went in and wrote these bills, and they got passed. In case
It
did not go to the public, we did not get to vote on that.
But did we elect them to be able to do things like that? Is that within? I mean, it's within their power, right? They didn't do anything
I don't
illegal.
think anything like that should be left to them.
Well, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Sure, sure, I get it.
Can they do that with anything?
They can't.
Okay.
The way our state constitution is written.
Okay.
They have our state constitution is written so that our Congress has a lot of power.
Okay.
Do I believe that should be that way? Not necessarily. I also know, because I have a friend that works in polling places here, that Arkansas Democrats don't get out and vote.
Really? Well, what's the point?
Voting, period, in the
Yeah.
state is not great.
Yeah.
I believe the statistic, excuse me, there's some ears, and anyway. I believe the statistic was that in the general election, about 68% of Arkansans show up to vote, registered Arkansans show up to vote, and in the primaries, only about 35% show up to vote. So
but you also
that's
said
not
registered voters.
correct.
So what percentage is it of Arkansans? Legal, 18 and up?
I don't
How
know.
many of those are registered? You know what I mean? 'Cause
I don't-
A lot of
I
people
don't know.
just don't even register.
I know. I've
You know?
seen that a
So-
lot too.
So if
this
you're
year.
saying 68% of registered voters, if you counted anyone,
well, if you're not registered, you can't really bitch about it. In my opinion,
true,
If you're
we're
not
talking about
willing
low
to-
turnout, but that would include the non-registered voters. So I wonder if that number's way lower, like 30%.
Oh, probably.
Right, you know what I mean?
Probably 30. I would say you're probably right. 30% of
guessing.
Arkansans,
Yeah.
of total Arkansans, probably show up to vote
Right.
in the
general.
national election,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
general election, and then probably closer to 15 show
Yeah.
up in primaries. But
Do you follow local politics pretty close?
some, I've gotten more into it in the last few years. When in what I feel like is really. I don't know how to say this. What I feel like is extremely important has happened in the last 4 or 5 years, and I've become very politically active in those last few years.
Well, for the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes.
Before that, you were not.
I'm not as politically active as I am now. I did vote.
Or
you know.
politically outspoken.
Well,
Or
I've
that's
known
outspoken,
you
yeah.
for that
that's
long.
exactly
right?
the amount of time I've been involved in it. It's
Mhm.
about 4 or 5 years. So
I would say when the
What-
2016 election happened was when I really got involved. And I will say
that's-
right here, I said it on our podcast before, I did not vote for Trump and I did not vote for Hillary. I couldn't stomach voting for
I
either
didn't
fucking
either. I
one
don't know
of
if
them.
you know that. I didn't vote in 2016.
I did vote.
I thought it was.
I voted for Jill Stein because
Yeah.
what she was talking about, her policies most aligned with my beliefs. And I just could not stomach voting for either one.
Yeah.
Do I regret that decision? Every fucking day of my life.
You wish you'd have voted for Hillary.
I do.
Okay.
It sucks to say I have to choose between
Yeah.
what I believe is the lesser of two evils, but that's what
So
that's what
even
we've
today,
got.
you think she's the lesser of two evils?
I do.
Really? That's interesting. But we're talking about Roe versus Wade.
Yeah. Anyway,
So, where were you with that?
I don't think it's right that we did not get to vote for ourselves
In
That-
Arkansas. We're
in
talking
Arkansas, in
right
any
now.
state, in any state. I think
Right.
that this particular, especially this particular hot button item, is something that the people should be able to decide. I understand that most Christian Americans believe that abortion is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, and that's fine. That's your belief, not yours specifically, but that's
I know.
your belief.
Yeah.
It's not mine. It is not mine. I believe that abortion should be used as repetitive birth control? Fuck no.
Should it be used as... Well, first of all, in my mind,
Hmm.
I liked the ruling because it gave the power to the states, and anything that takes power away from the federal government, to me, the federal government shouldn't be making weed illegal. That ought to be a state's right.
I
Right?
agree with that
so on
too.
the same thing, the abortion thing, the federal government doesn't need to be saying any blanket laws at all. So to me, I like the power decentralized.
Okay, I can understand
But that has nothing to do with any. It doesn't matter what the topic is.
But
Regardless, I think the state should have the decision.
The thing that bothers me the most about the states that have made the decision to pretty much ban abortion across the board, and Arkansas has, whether you want to agree with it or not, they say for the health of the mother, but what's happening in states like our state and Texas and Oklahoma and North Carolina and Georgia and Alabama and all these states that have made abortion pretty much illegal, women are dying every fucking day because doctors are afraid to touch them. Doctors are afraid that they're going to get sued and lose their licenses so they cannot perform life-saving procedures on women who have ectopic pregnancies, who have subuterine hematomas.
So hold on.
Who have...
You're educating me here, because I don't hear a lot of this side of the argument. So you're saying that in these states it's illegal to perform an abortion, even to save the life of the mother?
No. In some of these states, the law is set to where it is okay if it's to save the life of the pregnant person.
Okay.
However, it does not clearly define how far gone the pregnant person has to be.
Okay, so women are at risk.
Yes.
And doctors are afraid to abort because...
Correct.
Okay.
They're afraid of malpractice. They're afraid of
Okay.
losing their license. They're afraid of being jailed.
Okay,
They're afraid of being
that makes
fined.
sense. That makes sense.
And that's my biggest issue. I understand if
So-
people don't want that as a birth control, but let me tell you something. I had one. I had one because I became pregnant with a man that would have killed me if he had found out I was pregnant. What was I supposed to do? I lived in the same town as him. He saw me all the fucking time. What was I supposed to do?
Right.
That
How
put my
early
life
in
in
the
danger.
pregnancy did you do it?
I did it at 10 weeks. I found out I was pregnant. I set up an appointment.
How many weeks did you find out?
I was around 6 to 7 weeks, somewhere in there. I found out I was pregnant. I went to the doctor. The next week I started bleeding. I went back to the doctor. I had already set up an appointment. Went back to the doctor. My HCG levels were plummeting, and I was bleeding pretty bad. And she said, "You're going through a miscarriage. You don't even need to worry about it." 2 weeks later, I go to have an IUD inserted. To my surprise, I still had a fucking fetus. I had what was called a subuterine hematoma. So I was bleeding, and I was still bleeding then. For 2.5 weeks, I was still bleeding. And so I thought I was having a miscarriage. Nope. I had to go out of state to get the abortion.
But you had the option to.
But I had the option to then.
So, I mean...
And it wasn't because I hate children. I was also 41 years old, raising my granddaughter on my own without any help from my daughter, plus responsible for 2 other people.
Yeah.
What was I going to do bringing another kid into that? You know? And
But-
people
but-
will say,
but-
well, what about adoption? That's not always an option. It's just not. I don't believe that any pregnant person should be able to abort into the 3rd trimester. That is
hold on.
way beyond.
Let's just establish this.
Okay.
If the right is able to say, like, they believe it's morally wrong,
Okay.
right? But then again, you're not going to be doing it, right? If you believe it's morally wrong, then
Right.
it doesn't even affect you.
Exactly. So
then that argument needs to not exist.
Absolutely.
Because it's not even...
it shouldn't be there
If
anyway.
anything, they ought to be excited that liberals are killing their own kids, right?
Right? No more multiplication of them, right?
Exactly.
But,
That was a joke,
it's like,
people.
It was definitely a joke.
But I get that. That's funny.
But I think the narrative is these people are out there, just wantonly murdering babies that are pro-abortion.
Right.
I don't think that's the case. But let's talk about should you be able to abort in the 3rd trimester?
Hell no. Absolutely not.
So then you agree there's a line.
I believe
Yes.
there's a
And
line.
if both
Absolutely.
sides could agree to a line,
Yeah.
that's that's Trump's policy, you know. It is.
Can I remind you of something that he said before he used to be Democrat, first of all, number one. He used to be a Democrat. He said in an interview, and I can't remember who it was. I wish I would have remembered and wrote this down because, like, he said he believed in a woman's right to choose. He believed that abortion should be legal because he believed in the woman's right to choose. And he said if he ever made it to office, he would never touch Roe versus Wade.
Well, he's a politician, isn't he?
Right. So we can't even trust what you're saying is his policy on it. It's the
policy now.
Okay.
It was the policy then.
No place, any fucking where, was having late term abortions. The like we were talking about earlier, the right wing media is going to push out whatever they think is going to affect it.
They're going to show the most extreme, the loudest people.
Right.
Which the loudest people are the most extreme.
There's not late term abortions. It does not happen. There's not any state
that
it was ever legal to have a late-term abortion.
But if it was happening, you would be against it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you can at least say, even if it is happening, you don't approve of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, we agree on that?
Absolutely.
So, second trimester.
I believe up until
12 weeks.
the beginning of the third trimester, like in there. Because the heart's not fully formed until the third trimester. This heartbeat law that's in Texas, that's not even a heartbeat. That's electrical impulses. There is no heart for there to be a beat.
Yeah, I've read that.
The whole, you're hearing the baby's heartbeat, that's not what you're hearing. You're hearing electrical impulses that organs are putting out by forming. It is the byproduct of atoms splitting, is what it is.
I'll take your word for that. So we basically agree on all of this.
I think so.
The people who say it's morally wrong don't have to
Don't
worry about it.
Don't fucking do it.
Because you're not going to be doing it anyway.
Yep.
So it's not on your conscience.
Right.
And if your side can agree that it's past the second trimester, that shouldn't be a thing.
I don't know anybody. In my own personal experience, I don't know anybody that believes into the third trimester it's okay.
Okay, then there's a line and there's a deal made in a story.
But why can't we get there?
Because one side believes it's morally wrong and wants to control the other side, and the extremists on your side are there are videos of people saying, I'm pro-abortion, kill the baby. You know, it's a shock thing, just to say wild shit. But then the right-wing media runs with that.
Yeah.
Says, look at what they're saying. Well, they're saying it to troll you for saying that they're terrible. You know, and it just goes back and forth. And so nobody wants to talk. Because why would you?
It's just too bad.
It's
too bad.
I think we agreed on everything.
I think we agreed on the majority of things. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that might have surprised you.
It sure as shit surprised me.
I mean, I will be honest with you. I think I might have surprised you too, though.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm not this crazy fucking all the way out in left field liberal that thinks that everything should be legal. I'm not that person.
But that's what conversations do.
Right.
We probably respect each other a lot more now than before you came in here.
I guarantee she's coming back on this show. I know she loved it.
I've enjoyed myself, yeah. And I will say that you've shocked me a little bit, and I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Nicole and I talked about this. I was like, I'm not going on his show if he's going to fucking start with the Trump shit. I'm not going to do it because I know that because we are part of the same brand with her, we have to get along. And I was like, if I go on Brad's show,
we don't have to.
we have to at least be civil. And I was like, if I go on Brad's show, I'm afraid that things will get too far out there, and I don't know that I can be civil. Because there are some things that really just, some things that really just push my buttons to the point where I can't be civil about it. But
you have TDS.
Trump derangement syndrome. I remembered it. I don't know what it
just people
means.
who fucking hate Trump, like, can't admit he's ever done anything positive.
I'm not saying he didn't do anything positive. I am not saying that at all. I am saying I can't understand how, as a parent, especially as a parent of any female child, you can look at your child and say, this man has been convicted of 34 felonies and has not been convicted of rape, but has been found liable in defamation in a rape case, which means they believe that he committed the act in the first place to be liable for the defamation. How can you look at your child, your daughter, and say, this man did these terrible, horrible things, but it's okay because I believe in his policies. I don't understand that. I can't fathom that because I can't look at my kids and say that.
You remember Clinton, right?
Kid Clinton was a shit show.
Yeah. But people loved him.
Because he was charismatic.
Right. So
just like Trump is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you do get it.
I don't know why we put so much faith in celebrities. And that means politicians, celebrities across the board.
Do you know why I like Trump? Have you heard
I
mine?
don't.
Okay. Can I just tell you why? I think the federal government's out of control. I think it's corrupt, and I think it's bought and paid for by corporations and mergers and banks that buy these people from the get-go. Okay?
I can agree with you on that.
Good people run for office, and they're going to get tested. They're going to have slander pieces, right? You weed those people out because they can't handle it. You find the most sociopathic candidates. You fund them. You fund both sides of the campaign. You make them each promise something to you for the money, and then it doesn't matter who wins.
Right.
These people don't care about the left and right ideologies. They just want to be able to control things for their corporate interests or the national security interests or the war machine or whatever, right? So every president goes in being a senator or governor or something, and then they come out millionaires with a small salary, right? And so the federal government, you've got the three branches, but then you've also got the FBI, the CIA. These governments don't have a ton of oversight, in my opinion. And I feel like Trump couldn't be controlled. He couldn't be bought. I think he stumbled into a situation, because I didn't vote for him in 2016. I was like, I don't think this guy needs to be anywhere near this. But then, the more they went after him, it was like, man, like the Russiagate thing ended up being false. You would acknowledge that was disproven.
Is this Russia was involved in the election in 2016?
Well, the phone call with Ukraine, like being.
Okay, I'm unaware of that.
So. But anyway, they were just going after him hard, and I thought he was wrecking everything. I'd never seen the media go after anybody so hard. It was like, why don't they like this guy? And like the more I started getting into politics and delving down into the motivations and things, the more I just felt like Trump is a bull in a china shop, and he's pissing everyone off in the government. And if the federal government's wanting this guy to get out, then I think that's a good thing. Like, what is he exposing? If for anything else, it's what Trump has exposed, not Trump himself.
But his presidency. But what about the things that he's done? Like the retention of the documents, all of the stuff leading up to it.
Like what's on the documents?
But okay, I can give you that all former presidents, that all people in Congress have access to that stuff and have taken things
right. And why'd they
to their
wait till
offices and
Trump
stuff.
to go after him for everything?
But what I've seen, the difference is that when Pence was asked for them to search his office and home, he immediately complied.
Yeah.
Same thing with Biden, immediately complied.
Right.
Trump was like, I didn't take nothing.
Oh,
and then
he's the most egotistical person
and then
on earth. You can't understand
there
this?
were files moved out of Mar-a-Lago and then moved back into Mar-a-Lago before they were allowed to come in and check it.
Right.
Like, so that to me says there's some shady shit going on. Why does he need access to those? Who is he talking to? What is he sharing?
I think when he left, they just boxed shit up and left. I don't think it was anything sinister.
That's exactly what I believe happened in the first place. But why not just let them come get their shit?
Because of his ego.
Because he's Trump.
And that's the thing. I'll agree with you.
But his ego is going to get him in a world of fucking hurt.
It already has.
It's made him the most popular person in the planet in my lifetime right now.
I don't know about popular, well known maybe.
No, his momentum is. I've never seen anything like this.
It's scary.
But is it popular as far as like liked, so to speak? Or is it popular because everybody fucking knows who he is?
I like his masculinity too. I feel like men have been completely emasculated over the last 15, 20 years since I was growing up in the 90s. Like, the alpha male is...
Gross.
You're talking about a toxic male.
Yeah.
An alpha male is a man
who
who
always
knows how to fix a
they're
car.
alpha males.
Yeah, but we'll agree they're different things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about a man who knows how to cut firewood and fix a truck, right? Somebody who can...
Live off the land.
Yes. right? Like, there's no place for that man anymore. We live in a civilized society with technology. You have everything delivered to your door. And I think masculinity has really gone on the decline. And I think there's a lot of men in this country who don't feel like they have a voice anymore. Like, just shut up. You're a white male or whatever it is.
How about masculinity with accountability?
I'm firmly in agreement of that. Yes.
I love a masculine man.
I don't like toxic males either.
Right? They can go away. And that just seems to be all I run into anymore.
Can all men be a little toxic at times?
Absolutely, but
Can
all women
women
can
be
be. Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's not
We can all be
it's
a
not
little.
all of them. It's not all. We
Right.
know. How many times have I said this on the show? I know it's not all men. I know it's not all
No,
men.
it's most of them.
But I know
But
it's a
it's
majority
most.
of them.
Yeah.
And I know that the men that aren't like that aren't fucking standing up and saying some shit.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm not saying this specifically about you or to be disparaging to you, but you know at least one man who has committed a sexual assault. You know. You might not know that they did it, but you know at least one man that has committed sexual assault.
I mean, statistically,
Do I think you, personally, you would stand up and say, that's fucked up, brother? I don't think you should be doing that shit? Absolutely. No, after speaking with you and spending this hour-ish or so with you, I do believe that you would call somebody out if you knew it.
I do not know of any, like, that would really bother me.
Exactly. But there's a lot of men that go, it's not none of my business. I'm not doing it.
Well, I don't agree with that.
You don't think so?
I don't. No, I'm agreeing with
Oh,
you. I agree
okay.
with you.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
No, that's awful.
I'm not going to hold that person accountable. And until it becomes
No, we would
where
agree
men
that's a
like
bad
you,
thing.
right? But when it comes to until it comes to the fact that men like you are standing up across the board, men who don't do those kinds of things are standing up and holding their friends accountable. To us, how do we know?
I think any
How do I know?
real man with worth his salt would stand up against
There's
that.
a lot of men that don't, though.
Yeah, then they're not men.
Right, but according to you, the life of the alpha male is. So would that not be something I would consider a strong man, an alpha male, one to be able to stand up and say that's not right, you're doing wrong? But
Yes, but
you're
that's part of
saying-
honor
So how
and integrity.
how do we know?
An alpha
How do
male
we
has
rec-
honor and integrity. And
How do we
things that-
recognize that?
behavior?
That takes a minute, right?
Can.
So these guys that keep saying you women need to choose better need to sit down and shut up, right?
Man, now you're getting into life. Life is like poker or cards or dice. There's
Well,
a lot of luck.
I'll say in my experience, it was not until there were already emotions involved. There was already a deep connection that I felt with that person. It wasn't until that the crap was brought out, that the mistreatment was brought out.
But let me say this also. Like, if you're trying to attract a mate, right, you're going to put your best self forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
For as long as you can.
I get that too.
And then even after you're married for a while, it slowly starts to devolve into who you really are. And so a lot of people get married and they don't even know who they've married yet because they're both putting on.
Case in point.
Right. So.
But how do you discern before you get to that point? And
Now,
I think with a lot
how
of
quickly
females,
did you get married
You had
after
to get a
meeting the
chance.
person, though?
we were together for 2.5 years.
Well, I would
almost
think
3.
that's a sufficient amount of time.
It wasn't. Apparently, it wasn't.
Well, did you live together first?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yep.
How
We
fast-
had a child before we got married.
How fast did it change after you got married?
It was probably a 1.5 year or so process. It was little things, and there
Did
were
you change
things.
as well?
There was absolutely. We all change as we get older, right?
Yeah.
Do I feel like I changed to the point that it warranted any of his behavior? Absolutely not. I think I swung more toward I want to fix this. I want to do what needs to be done, and all the things that I was taught growing up.
Yeah.
Do you do to fix a marriage? And he was over here doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And like I finally got to a point where I went, I'm worth more than this, and my kids are worth more than this, and I can't do this shit anymore, and walked away. We were married for By the time we got our divorce, we were married for 9 years. We were together for 7.5 of those. Unfortunately, I had pretty poor judgment back then. And he was in and out of jail, in and out of prison. And I just kept seeing the good side of him. And I think that's what happens to a lot of women is we see that side that men, and I think this happens to men too, don't get me wrong. We see that side of that person that they portray.
You're talking about a human characteristic.
Right.
This isn't a man, yeah.
You see that side that they portray at first and you fall in love with that persona and then things change and you're like, what happened? Wait a minute.
Well, it's not even that they change. You just didn't see the other side because you hide the darkness.
But it is a change. Well, regardless of whether they actually changed or not. It is a change
yes, you're right.
of what you know.
Sure.
I think that we get women especially because we're more emotional. You guys are more logical, more brain. We're more heart.
Yeah.
We become attached to that person that is given to us at the beginning. And we think, where is that person? We can bring them back. We can bring them back. We can fix this. We can heal this.
Okay.
We can't.
The key word there was fix.
If you have to fix it, then it's broken, right?
And we can't do that. And I think that
fix a marriage.
But then you
We're gonna
also
solve it here
have.
tonight, folks.
We also
right
have.
after this piss break because I got to take one bad.
Hurry up, because I gotta go pee too.
Go.